All right. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's get ready for the show, everyone. Where are we? Okay. 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. All right. Nice little transition there. Let me quickly go back on that. Let me close this down. You gotta forgive me. My machine is rendering videos as we speak, so it's doing two things at once. I'm gonna close that. I think I've saved it. Yeah, I think I've closed that down. Close that down. Let's save some RAM. Hello, I'm your host, Rap Raven, and this is the Betterment Broadcast. This is the 131st show. There you go. And yeah, that's 131 times the community's come together to do something constructive for black people. Excellent. Fantastic. Good stuff. All right, so we're going to start the show as we start every show with the three starting statements. That's very important. And this will help you when you want to communicate with black people when you're trying to be constructive, you see. So that is, when it comes to working as a collective with only black people on matters that benefit black issues, black progression, and black ownership, black people are collectively inadequate. Statement two, individually, when you find a non-black person, individually, you might find a non-black person who shows some kind of camaraderie towards black people. However, collectively, black people have no friends. Very important quote there. You have to understand that no one's coming to save you. You have to save yourselves. And the most important quote of all is, constructive black man with constructive black woman makes a constructive black family. Those three starting statements will help you keep on the path of trying to practice black betterment. There you go. Don't forget that. We're gonna throw a link out to invite the community to come in and join in to find solutions to be constructive, and that is we'll be using the 4D value system. So every time you come in, please try to practice discipline, dignity, dedication, and discernment. Good stuff. 4Ds. And please do not use derogatory language. Please use descriptive language just to make communication make more sense. And it looks like that the video is that took a long time to bounce down. Must be long. How long is it? Is it that long? We'll have to skip through it. I'll just use it as a thing. All right, cool. So what is black betterment? Black betterment is black people helping black people on black issues for betterment. That's black people helping black people on black issues for betterment. Well, black man, good. Black betterment is a lifestyle. So this broadcast promotes a lifestyle black betterment. That's right. All right. So copyright disclaimer under the section 107 of Copyright Act, blah, 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 blah. We're going to be showing some videos. It's not ours, but we're using it for journalistic purposes. That's right. All right. Going to also promote the Black Betterment Instagram page. I do a very poor job. And hopefully you guys do a better job promoting it yourselves. So feel free to take that and do what you're doing. Cool. All right. So we have a fantastic topic today. Two fantastic topics. Oh, looks like the video's done. Shall I bounce down the other one? Nah, probably take too long. I'll just save that. Play a few seconds. Let me close down Premiere. Save. Exit. My machine is overclocking. All right, cool. Goodbye. Now, where are we? Are black people in North Africa respected? Question mark. And what are some of the black betterment templates, agendas, and optics? Very important there. We're going to start with that one first while people wait for them to come in. And we'll come back to, we're going to start with the second topic, then go to the first topic, then come back to the second topic later on. This is very important. Yes, sir. And that's that's templates, agendas, and optics. T.A.O. All right. Little thing there. So let's know if I scroll. That's not what I want to see. Why is that one there? Who put that there? All right, cool. Should move that. Okay, cool. So we're going to start with very important. What are some of black betterment templates? So a template is something that serves as a model for others to copy. You see. So the idea is, it's not. Hold on. Hello, mic check. Yeah. You know what? Let me put that on this side because it's confused. There you go. Yeah. So what is a template? So these are just like just a model, just for us to copy. So the idea is these are not laws or things you enforce. It's like when you're born, there's direction. There's things that are set up a certain way to get a certain achievement, a certain goal, and that's our templates. So you could say a template might be become constructive and find a constructive partner and raise a constructive family. That's like a template, you see? Another template could be set up a black business, hire black people, and have some kind of ownership. So these are like templates. Like this is a template. What we're gonna do. Yeah, and we could have hundreds of thousands of those, and it's just there's direction to do something, right? Templates, very important. And by all means, we can have exercise in today or future shows where we try to write down these templates or the templates we want, and then I'll try to turn to some fancy design and promote it, all that good stuff. So that is what a template is. Now, next, what's after template is what's an agenda? The underlying intentions or motives of a particular person or group. One of the challenges we find as a community is we tend to not have agendas, you see, and I think that's going to let us down. Having an agenda is very important. A goal, an aim, something you're trying to do. So as a community, we need to establish an agenda. So agenda might be something like so before we spoke about a template of you know have a black business, hire a black person. But that's a template, right? That's how you should be doing. The agenda is actually putting it into work, as in like, okay, we want to have a black industry. We want to set up situations where we make that possible. That's the agenda. We're going to do it. By 2000 and this, we're going to have this thing going there. We're going to have a bank, a hospital, a magazine, a football team, you name it, right? Agenda. And that's the thing, you need agendas, and also making sure that there is a black agenda. So you're talking about black things. One of the things we want to do as a Black Betterment Broadcast is help black people talk about black people. Because if you go out publicly, um, there's sometimes some people, they're very ashamed to talk about black issues. And what I equate this to is, or what I put it to, I should say, is, uh, I think if we look at the dynamics between black people and white people, Europeans and Africans, however you want to word it, right? There's a different history, and what happens is, I think I mentioned this a few weeks back, in when the Europeans were going around mistreating people, the world really, but let's focus on Africans and the Caribbean and this kind of stuff. At a certain point, uh, it was said, let's not do this anymore. This is not correct, right? So from now on, we're not going to judge people or do any activities based on color, openly anyway, at least. Now, that might have made sense for them because they're coming from a place of dominance. They have conquered many lands, and they've got certain things in place where they can pretty much maintain what they've conquered because it's just through osmosis and systematic behavioral patterns, whatever, right? So you don't no longer need to go hunting or grouping in a certain way. It's just now all made. But unfortunately, because black people are the byproduct of the victims of such behavioral patterns, for us to do the same thing, as in not to be aware of people groups, race, color, creed, all that kind of stuff, and that won't benefit us. We actually need to go, you know what, we need to be aware that we're black people and we need to make black owned things and promote black agendas, and then we have particular goals to do particular things. And we have to make talking about this stuff very trendy, Mm-mm-mm. Very trendy indeed. It's very important. So, within this broadcast, we shall make such things trendy, and we shall establish agendas, and we shall have a black agenda. That's right. And by all means, people listening and people in the future time, comment your black agendas, things that we want to do, and let's make it sexy. Let's make it work. Let's promote it, and let's make it normal. You see, case an example. For many years, conscious black people were talking about promoting and supporting black businesses is much more important than going to governments and complaining about certain things. Not that you shouldn't do that. If you want to do that, you should do that. And then, some people go, that's not cool, trying to promote black businesses and telling black people to shop black. If I did that, that'd be wrong, blah, blah, blah. But then obviously when the Black Lives Matter happened, you had a whole lot of Europeans promoting black businesses as a sign of kindness. And then it was acceptable, you see. So, but you never want to wait for a non-black person to validate something you should be doing anyway. And also, you never want to do like for like with non-black people. Remember, we have a different history, we have a different social standing, and we have a different mindset. We cannot do like for like. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Black economics and black love is very important stuff that should be on the agenda. That's right. Now, last but by no means least is optics, black belt and optics. So this is more like you're creating scenarios that when people see things or hear things, you're painting certain pictures, right? So, case in point, many years ago in Hollywood, they would ban black people from kissing non-black people or white women in particular, and they would ban black men from striking white men. Uh, this is something that they did because they knew optically it would change the dynamics of how people perceive things. It might give some people ideas. It might undermine certain things that they built many years up. This kind of thing, right? So they had laws to say, yeah, this is not optically good. We don't want to see this. So optics, I've written down here, typically in a particular context, the way in which an event or course or action is perceived by the public. You see, this is something that we have to be aware of. So I'm going to show you some images following now about optics, right? So just how you control optics. So this is a picture about. I mean, can I make it slightly bigger? Maybe I can. Let me try. Da-da. So what we have here, we have a picture of. I think it's the Oscars, but I could be wrong, and it's probably very blurry. But I think the Oscars. I think someone somewhere got all the black people to come together to take a picture. I think that's what happened there because some of the attire looks like it was at that night. Um, and yeah, good idea. And optically, it's nice, isn't it? Right. And as far as I'm aware, they're all black. Now, just to say that certain black men and certain black women brought their white husbands and stuff, and it was they and a lot of black people marry non-black people. Uh, and if they were to put that in there, that would change the optics, you see. And that means the next scene now would just imagine they now take a picture in the bar, and they're talking about black, whatever it is, and then all the black men and black women did not have black wives. Very nice picture. You see that? Black celebrities with the black wives smiling, doing good stuff. Good optics, you see? Optics. Yeah. Magazines, all that kind of stuff, social network, creating that environment. Whether it's real or not, it doesn't matter. You see the optics. What you want a person to see as it pertains to black people and blackness, all that kind of stuff, right? I think the next picture is something that's more frequent. It's a bit blurry, but this is like the typical way in a football match, and obviously one of these individuals are getting married, and then obviously the individual comes with his wife, who just so happens also to not be black, and then you get magazine pictures, and then you have this optics of black men marrying white women, more importantly, black men not marrying black women, and then becoming famous and rich. Optics. So we're not saying that we're not saying you should or shouldn't do this kind of stuff. We're saying as a community, how do we control the optics? What do we do as a collective to promote constructive black love and constructive black families, regardless of what is or isn't going on? You see? There you go. Right. Excellent. So we've joined, by the way, by Brother Cal. Welcome, Brother Cal.
Batman, brother.
Black Bearman. Black Bearman to yourself. So we just started the show with the second topic, which is what are some of the Black Betterment templates, agendas, and optics? And the question we're asking the viewers is, if you got any ideas, let us know. What template should we push forward? What agendas and what optics? And by all means, Brother Kel, whenever you like, you can always have any agendas you think we should be working on, or any optic things that work best for optics. You said yourself that it's always best to have black people talking about black issues and using black people. It's never optically good to push out non-black people in black spaces fighting racism, because sometimes that confuses black people into thinking that we're in this together, this kind of stuff, right? So it's optics, and so that's what we're asking people listening. What do we do for the optics now? The first topic that we're going to move on to, I think the video is downloaded, so that's good stuff, is, are black people in North Africa respected? Now, there's some issues going on in Tunisia. I mean, to be honest, in most of North Africa, there's always 1 or 2 issues. But currently there is a issue with the president of Tunisia making comments about African people, or black Africans, I should say. And let's go to a video, and then we can unpack it. Where's this video? I'm going to say it's this one. Big up Empress Kushti, who delivered this video to us. Great contributor, very important content. Well done. Let's play it.
We really need help from all.
Rewind.
On social media, a video of another racist attack on black migrants in Tunisia. Such attacks are prohibited by law, but rights groups say they're condoned by the country's president. Last week, Kais Saied said, quote, hordes of sub-Saharan Africans were changing the demographic makeup of the country. sparking racist attacks throughout the nation. This is what is left of one black woman's home after it was ransacked. Black men and women say they are arbitrarily rounded up by police because of the color of their skin.
We really need help from all over the world because we are really suffering here.
Hundreds of Ivorians and Guineans are now being repatriated, some injured and unable to walk after the beatings.
We live in fear. People are scared to go out, even those that have the right paperwork. And for those that don't have visas, they get thrown out on the spot.
Many of them were hoping to make it to Europe. Most African migrants from Senegal and West Africa are not fleeing war, but poverty. But Europeans don't want them on their continent and have signed agreements with North African countries like Tunisia to stop them from crossing the Mediterranean. According to aid agencies, there are 30 to 50,000 African migrants living in Tunisia illegally. Tunisian rights activist Miriam Mastour says they are mistreated and do menial jobs that Tunisians don't want to do. She says she and her husband have also experienced abuse.
So racism has a long history in Tunisia against black people, even if black people are like 10 or 15% of the population. Now people in Tunisia are in a social and economic crisis. So the president, he uses black people as scapegoats.
Tunisians are out on the streets denouncing the attacks, holding signs saying Tunisians come in all colors. It's not only a reminder of the diversity of the country, but a call for unity in the face of growing bigotry and division. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Dakar, Senegal.
Oh, so that's going on in Tunisia at the moment. There's one more video of a lady. I haven't seen it fully because it's quite long, so we might skip through it. But oh, is it video? Hold on. I think I downloaded. Did I download it? Is it this lady? What? It's not you, though. Is it you? Let's check. Oh, there we go. That's the wrong name. But is that the wrong name? A big up, hey black girl. Follow this lady. Let's go see what she says, and then we'll skip ahead because it's quite long.
Hope you decide to subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here. Welcome back. So today's video, as you guys already saw in the title, is about what's going on in Tunisia. Right now there's an anti-racism process going on in Tunisia. Yes, this might be shocking to some people. To me, it's kind of shocking too, because yeah, racism happening in Africa, that's a thing. Tunisia is located in Northern Africa. A lot of the Northern African people do not look like the rest of us, you know, sub-Saharan people who are basically dark skinned. A lot of the Northern African people in countries like Algeria, Morocco, Libya, Tunisia that we're talking about, they have this Arabian lineage, so they look more pale skin, and you know, they have more proximity to whiteness. And obviously there's going to be racism anywhere you have people who look like this and people who look like this. There's definitely going to be racism, and it is sad that this is happening in Africa. And then the alarming thing about this whole situation is that it was triggered by a statement, a speech that was given by the president of the country. Imagine the president of an African country coming out to give a speech that incites racist attacks on people that look like this in Africa. Let me play the video right now.
I'll read it if I can. I don't think she's going to. Migration is a plot to change Tunisia's demographic. Traitors who are working for foreign. Shady Pie is talking in the Tunisian state. He's the president of Tunisia, by the way. Today they are speaking about of sub-Saharan African immigrants. We helped them during the COVID medicine, and we are proud of our African identity. But today they want to change demographic competition of I think what he's saying is kind of like, I think he's using I guess racial blackening. I think that's his fear. Just like racial whitening was a thing in Brazil deliberately, he's fear of racial blackening, his country becoming more traditional African. It's a plot and they got paid for it. So I think he believes that black people are paid to change Tunisia's biological phenotype. Like they got paid in other fields to attack the state. I think I don't really know.
في عديد القطاعات الأخرى لضرب الدولة
Tunisian people and
التونسية ولضرب الشعب
and this is the president of Tunisia, by the way.
التونسي.
And after the president's speech, these things white on white, so I can't read it. We are always surrounded by the population.
A surge in attacks, arbitrary arrests, assault and slurs, and abuse on social media targeting sub-Saharan students and workers in Tunisia. So what's going on? The hostility was triggered by President Said's inflammatory remarks on migrants. He said they were behind most of the country's crime and ordered a crackdown on illegal migration. He also claimed, without evidence, a criminal plot was underway to undermine the country's demographics. As a result, migrant African workers are losing their jobs and getting kicked out of rented homes. Foreign students are afraid to walk the streets and climate of fear has taken over. The situation is so dangerous, Ivory Coast and Guinea are even flying their citizens home on special flights as a precaution. Meanwhile, the Tunisian government refutes accusations of racism, labeling criticism from the EU, Washington and the African Union as foreign interference. Noteworthy is that black Tunisians make up 10% of the country's population, and hundreds have defied a protest ban to demonstrate in the capital. But this latest turmoil is not the only source of anger. Discontent has been brewing over a series of hardline policies by the president. 2 years ago,
He said hundreds of people, included, I guess, black people, were protesting. Not that much in a million-plus country.
Said dissolved the democratically elected parliament and grabbed further powers. He also imprisoned a wide range of critics, including opposition politicians, journalists, and civil society activists. Once the champion of the Arab
Don't forget to like the show, everyone.
Spring, Tunisia again finds itself leaning towards authoritarianism, and people's anger is being reignited.
Because of where Tunisia is located, a lot of African people migrate to Tunisia with the hopes of using that as a route to enter into European countries. I think Italy is usually the country these people migrate to from Tunisia, and that's Tunisians included. So it's not just like it's only, dark-skinned Africans that are doing this. So you see a lot of Africans going there with the hopes of, migrating out of Africa, and then maybe in some cases it doesn't work out and they are stuck there for some reason, while some people just go there for schooling, education, for businesses and all of that. And I mean, it's Africa. If everything was right and if these borders were not created by the palm-colored colonizers, normally we should all be one nation. The whole continent of Africa should be one nation. Africa should be free to move from one part of Africa to another. And
does the North see themselves similar to what they call sub-Saharan Africa? Let us know your thoughts and views. Are Africans aware of how the North might perceive many of them?
It usually gets to that point where that happens, but that is how it's supposed to be. So now the president obviously is not okay with the amount of, sub-Saharan Africans that are in his country, so he came out to make that speech. Before I go any further, let me just play some reactions.
So Nigerians and other African countries in Tunisia are running away from Tunisia. Very similar to what has happened in South Africa in the past, xenophobic attacks. But this time is much worse. Now, these people claim that they are victims of extreme racial attacks and they now want to come back home. So, President Kais, we plead with you. If your government does not want Africans to now migrate to Tunisia for study and to live, please inform every African country and send them back. So Tunisian government, where you are currently the head, is being accused of leading racist agendas against migrants and making racist comments.
All right, cool. Let's see if there's any Is it just comments? Okay, African comments, interesting. Very good, very good. Let me see, because like 17 minutes is quite long. What's this? Is this? Oh yeah, the citizens of Guinea walked back home from Tunisia. That's very cool. Well done on that. And what's this protest? Let's see what this is. This might be protest in the streets. So, whatever. Cool. All right. All right. We might come back to that at the end. Then again, we might not. Good stuff. Very good. Thanks to sister there. Make sure you follow her show. So, brother Kel, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, brother Raven, my black Betterment.
Yeah,
All right,
Betterment.
man. Just another beneficial Friday as usual, man.
Of course. Of course. So the two topics are black people in North Africa respected? I don't know if you know a bit about that. And what are some of the black betterment templates, agendas, and optics? So anything you want to cover?
Yeah, I've noticed the white supremacist, well, the unethical code of conduct in North Africa resembles the Europeans, the Asians. It's, you see, brother, they want to say that they're not all, racist, but it it's synonymous with one another. I mean, that particular thing, what was happening in North Africa, those who have been raised a little bit in the UK, we can identify that used to happen in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s.
Yeah.
And then in America as well, the same thing. So should we really categorize non-African people, or should we generalize them, which is a safe option, so we can protect ourselves? We have to ask ourselves that question.
Yeah, well, we have started that debate before. I remember, yeah. It's I guess that the analogy of I think Malcolm X said it. I think was it? No, it was Muhammad Ali who said that if he's in front of his door and a whole lot of snakes are charging towards his house, yeah, I think he said that some of those snakes might really like me, but am I going to trust they're going to jump in front of the others to stop them?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Very
yeah.
Good analogy that was, man.
I think it's good to have that, because what I think one of the issues, like you do get when you talk to our people, is they always have that kind of like, I've got one friend or two friends, and you're saying, we're talking about a collective concept, really. And also, I think they mentioned that 100 people came out to protest. So 100. So the country's very big, and hundreds, and that's including the obviously the black brothers and sisters there. So I don't know if it's that big an issue in their country to do that. I remember I actually did the Libyan protest in London.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember I was there, and a lot of the Speakers Corner guys were there. Didn't see any North Africans there, to be honest. I could be wrong, but everyone seemed to be sub-Saharan African, Caribbean, and African American, but not really North African, where they're protesting with outside the embassy. I think Libyan embassy, I think it was, or something. But yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame because there are those who are in those religions, Brother Raven, which the non-African people are. And as I always say, man, like, we can play that strategic game with them. We can take it to religion, or we can take it to somewhere else, but it's going to lead to that you all practice on ethical code of conduct. The religion, tells you you're not supposed to do that. So what is preventing you from following the religion that you hold dear to your heart? What could it be? We have to ask, ourselves. I don't think we should ask the non-African. We know that, well, some of us do know that they're all practice, but it's the black people, Brother Raven. When you come to our people, they're unsynchronized, and you try to explain to them, especially those, brother, who is coming from, let's say, a biracial European, biracial Asian, or biracial Middle Eastern. When they come to you, man, and they're explaining to you, they've seen the ins and outs when they're a kid. They grew up around that, and they're explaining to you that they are racist, and you want to go against that, and you find excuses, and you think to yourself, well, I've been helped in the past, charitable things has happened to me, and you're going against that. You are destroying and putting the race in danger, because people from that background are telling you live and direct they are all racist. We need to explain that to our people, brother, man.
Yeah, and I think that ties in. I think that ties into when I said templates, agendas, and optics. In the sense of, I remember there was a famous, well, there was a famous brother whose mother was, his father was black, but his mother was white. And I think I wasn't there, but I was told he came to some black debate. I think he brought his mum, and this was a bit of an issue. And they said, no, it's just for African descendants, whatever. And I think that people kicked off about that. And I think people need to understand the reasons behind things, and you cannot keep centering non-black people in black stuff.
Yeah.
And black people need to understand why it's important. What's unique about black people is we're the people who suffer the most, and the most evidence is against our community being mistreated. But yet we're the ones who are fighting to always include everyone, and that's very interesting. But while I'm speaking, let's welcome Empress Kush to the show. Welcome, Empress Kush.
Black Betterment family.
Black Betterment, sis. Black Betterment.
Black Betterment. Yeah. Welcome. So yeah, the topic is: are black people in North Africa respected? Any views on this topic at all?
I think that's a definite resounding no. But yeah, I'm just enjoying the conversation and listening in so far. I did leave a little comment in your back chat.
Okay.
Yeah, on StreamYard, so you can check it out. But yeah, I'm literally agreeing with everything.
Let's do that. Let's go to stamp. We're gonna go look at a 15-minute stamp. The UI on this is very bad, so they don't give us timestamps. Let's do it. Oh, yes, they do. They do now. I'm silly me. What today? Let's go to 15. There we go. Oh yeah, I literally stopped before we got there. Yep. Oh, this is a good one. Let's have everyone.
A lot of Tunisians who are condemning the action of their president and the speech of the president. There are some of them who agree. Take a look at this video.
Okay, so I'm going to read it because he's speaking in Tunisian Arabic, I assume. Their values are African and not Tunisian. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Their values ain't compatible with those of Arab and Mahaka. Remember, these people strongly identify with Arabs. They're Arabs. They have their own values. Have you met any of them? Excuse me? Have you met them? Have I met them? Question mark. My grandpa used to buy and sell them, and you asked me if I met them. So very interesting. This is a strong statement there. His grandpa used to buy and sell them. Very interesting one. They're very shocking. Not shocking to me, but very shocking, I guess, to some people. That draws me to another thing, because I was collating some videos of a similar thing in the States, and one I remember there was a European girls in maybe the 50s or something like that, and they were saying, with the Latin or the Puerto Rican, I think it was, or Latin, whatever they used, and the Asians, we have similar values. We don't mind them being around us to an extent, but it's just the values of the black people are just so barbaric and this kind of thing. And this is a consistent theme you get from non-black people, you see. But very shocking stuff there. Very shocking.
Well, when you go on, sis, go on, beloved.
Sorry, bro. I'll just say quickly, I just find it so fascinating that when they talk amongst each other, they're Arabs, but when they're talking to get out of trouble, they're all African.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
So they like to interchange, but we notice they never necessarily say the word black, but they put the walls over most people's eyes by saying African.
Yes, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen that behind the band. I think we covered the football player a few months back, or weeks back, where we're in the World Cup, who I think Morocco got to the knockout stages. It was the first time they've ever done it. The first time a North African country have done it, I think. I can't remember. And they said, this is for Morocco and the Arab world. And then I think one of the captains on the plane, You know, and I think people were upset. What do you mean, not Africa? Like, like, you know. So yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, a lot of the conscious community is well aware of the Arab identity and the behavioral patterns that many people of Arab descent uh, practice in the continent of Africa. We're well aware of it. And a lot of people like they use the two analogies of I think we use it here as well, the Arab slave trade and then the European slave trade. And I think it combines with our starting statement, which is number two, and that's collectively, black people have no friends. Very
Yeah.
important statement. I wasn't going to show it this week, but I came across a video of some trend that's happening in it's in Africa, but I think more so in Malawi at the moment. And it's Chinese students, the Chinese people go into Malawi and they make videos to either send back to China to either sell or get some kind of algorithm. And it's basically having African children read inappropriate things like, I'm ugly, I'm a monkey, and the yellow woman is better than the black woman, this kind of stuff, right? And there's a woman, black woman from BBC who lived in China, and she studied in China, something like this. And she's doing a documentary, and then she was, she just spent when I was there, she was very racist. There was direct racism and indirect racism, but she decided to investigate this kind of thing. So yeah, it's quite unrelenting to me.
I think the problem is, Brother Raven, is that there was a Pan-Africanist conference in North Africa, and the latest one, I would say, was in the 60s, where the Algerians were looking after the Black Panthers. And because of this here now, brother, as you know very well, although it was a good thing, but what it does, it tells us black people that, you know what, because they looked after the Pan-Africanists and the Black Panthers, can trust them. And I understand that sometimes we have to have like a temporary coalition, but the temporary coalition without a political science analysis, it damages us a lot. Because of that, there now they believe, well, because we've helped you, now we can mistreat you. And it's very important why we have to get our power back collectively, so we don't need to rely on them, because they always do. We'll give you charity, but then we're going to take away and humiliate you more. So we have to find solutions to not rely on them as much.
Well, I'm glad you said that, and that's why we talk about templates, agenda, and optics. Should be agendas, but agenda and optics. And that's one of the agendas. How do we do that? How do we? I think it's important that this. I guess it could be a template or whatever of just. Even though you have non-black people who might occasionally do good stuff, and I'm sure they're well done to them, that doesn't mean that you drop the ball. I think one thing that I try to always highlight, unfortunately, but it's a truth I have to keep bringing, is that as black people, we've been taught and mastered the art of subservience. So because of that, some people are prone to subservience, you see, and all it needs is one non-black person saying a nice thing. And and then every kind of defense is down. Every kind of every kind of thing. There was a show called The Cows, very good show. Very few people will listen to it, but it's a very good show. A guy called Gus T. Renegade. I used to listen to his stuff a lot back. I should listen to it more now, but he would have a lot of non-black people on, more particularly white people, because it's cows meaning in the context of white supremacy. That's what it stands for. I remember he was saying, why don't you teach black people to be suspicious of you, innit? Like you've come on my show and you say that, white people are collectively racist and we live in a white supremacist system. So should you always be teaching that you shouldn't trust anything I say and you should be very wary of everything I do? And the format that they had was a very good format of how it's very long shows, but it's one I recommend people study. Very good way of handling guests when interviewing about white supremacy. Very good stuff.
Yeah. But Yeah, it's very sad, brother Raven, man. I can understand why Leonard Jeffries came up with the book Ice People versus Some People. We do need to start generalizing, as I said earlier on. It's because when I say these things, brother Raven, for some reason, non-African people, they get very angry. I've said it for so many years that they are all spiritually deficient and they lack humanity morals. They have a problem with these two words. And when you explain, elaborate, and show them, they know very well that it's wrong what they're doing. But the fact of allowing Africans, indigenous Africans in North Africa, to prevail in their culture, which the non-Africans borrow, they can't afford that. You know, that's why the man said that they're going to change things. You know, remember, we all are genetically dominant, whether you're dark skin or light skin. So you know what's going to happen. North Africa is going to look like us again. They can't have that. You know, the culture and the achievements, although they use bits and pieces of it, but then it will bring balance back to North Africa. So they have to try and stop that, which is why I do believe that the mountain people, the sand people, and the ice people, they are all related, as what Leonard Jeffries and other Pan-Africans made it clear. And it's, you know, it's the same region, isn't it? You know, the ones who come there. So we have to identify the natures, brother.
Well, what you were saying there, and I need to find that video of just, and I've seen it in different, but it is just of the Europeans saying, look, we don't mind having the Asians around, we don't mind having the Latin around, which is Spanish-speaking Europeans usually. But we just don't want to have the blacks around. It's almost like also in South Africa, and I want to say Australia as well. And that's where they have the concept of honorary white people, which they would give to Asians. So, and I think even Hitler might have used that term as well to Japan in the war, where it's like honorary white people, as in you're not white, but we'll give you the same kind of respect we give other white people for whatever reason, whatever political reason. And when you tend to find a lot of white supremacists, whenever they're not best pleased with the women in their group becoming feminists, like radical feminists as they describe it, because ultimately they want to marry white people because of the whole genetic survival kind of things they believe. But if they ever were to not pick a white person, the next person they would pick would be an Asian person. You see, and that you'll see some very famous white supremacists with Asian wives, and that's because I think they struggle to find a white woman with their ideology. So I don't know what it was. But man.
Also, as well, brother, that when the non-African marries with the African, remember, brother, although they get demoted by the white supremacists, but they still have that technique of allowing the African to be subservient and slaved while they are still the slave master. And we don't seem to understand that. You know, people will say, well, no, I'm with this European or Asian Middle Eastern woman. I've got, but the thing is that you're still in that code of being so to say sectioned.
Yes.
You know, you're still in that parameter of you have to conform. If you don't, we're gonna get the police involved. If you don't do this, I'm gonna act a victim. I'm gonna act like you're some monster, or you're making me feel a certain way. And this is another thing as well, bro, is that can we really be around them all the time? Because I was having a conversation years ago with a mountain guy, and he was trying to convince me that not all the mountain people, Asian people, are racist. And I was saying that because the way you've been raised, you've been taught these strategies, right? That when you're around a black person, your white supremacist chip will like activate, and then you'll make the black person feel secure of himself in order for you to feel better about yourself. So I said to him, do you think that's right? And he was saying that it's not right, but they're known for doing certain things. So saying, okay, so that's kind of bullying, really, isn't it? You know what I mean? You know, but he still was firm in his unethical code of conduct. We need to promote that, brother, that they cannot act normal around us, man. It's difficult for them.
I think it's good. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about I can't slip my mind there. It was quite a point. Um, ethical code of conduct. Yeah, no, yeah, I'll hang around. Yeah. So what it is I think if we have a culture of promoting black love and black economics, right, and we make that primary, yeah, we promote the template. It's let's go for the thing. We promote the template. We make it our agenda. Then the optics will change. So I think the idea is like you can have that conversation like we're fearful of having our community hang around too many non-black people in a certain capacity because we show such anti-black hatred and we're so disorganized and inadequate in so many things that the evidence is showing that if we don't have a certain kind of agenda just by hanging with others, we will tend to like do more for others than for ourselves, and this never works when it comes to bettering the community. So I think that is a conversation we can have. We can say, like, what is the solution to this? Because people are saying, maybe we should just not hang with non-black people. But I'm saying that could definitely be an option. But if that's not the option, then how do we minimize black people from going off script and doing behaviors that don't work in their own best interest? But how do we do that? And what Brother Kel is pushing forward is this is an old tested technique. It's prevention over cure, right? So we're saying if people want to mingle and jingle and get to know each other, so be it. But what guarantees do we have that when we do this, we're not going to lose ourselves, right, and start destroying, our own progression? We're not coming from a place of power. We're coming from a place of being dominated. You see, and there's very few things we own, very few industries that we do well at. And this is a long, big debate. I think one thing that I try to do when I talk to others is really highlight the shortcomings of black people, unfortunately. And I think when you talk to some black brothers and sisters, they have some illusion that we're collectively operating at, very well. Like, we're in a lucrative kind of thriving, striving environment, whatever. And the truth is not there. And also, you see that collectively black people have no friends. That we highlight that in North Africa. But yeah, but we'll talk about optics and stuff, and how and about being around. Here we have a picture of black people in the Oscars. One day we could tell the black Oscars, but right now they're in this Oscar. And that's the agenda, by the way. Agenda is to make a big media-based award show. They've got the BET and stuff, but you want one for acting. I guess you'll need the industry to get that first. But either way, I think this is an image, and I think we were talking about. I don't know who did this or what it was for, but what you see is just black people in the picture, and a lot of the wives and husbands of them were there, but because they're black, they're in the picture. And we're talking optically, if they were in a different scenario, like for example, in a football wedding, the picture will look very different. You see, and that optically is something we want to be aware of, like training black people optically. How do we paint pictures that work, promoting black love and black economics?
Yeah.
Optics. How do we control the narrative so we paint that picture so we have that kind of influence? Because ultimately, that's what we want to do. We want to make black love and black economics very romantic, very alluring. And this is I say should be one of our agendas. You see, the agenda is to promote black love and black economics, but actually have thriving businesses and thriving constructive black partnerships who actually run business as well. Any views on that, Empress Kush, at all about this an agenda of black love and black economics?
No, yeah, I definitely think I 100% agree with you around controlling the optics and the media, or just taking some control over the black image. So when you see an image like that, it would have been interesting to ask how people feel when they look at that, you know. And it would be lovely to see that version over here on the UK side.
Yeah.
I think that would be really powerful, and I think it would motivate the youth as well, you know. I think when I've seen this picture before, when it was trending, a lot of titles like Black Excellence and things like that, and you just kind of just stare at it, you just look at it, and it just looks. We always look good when we you know what I mean, we put ourselves together and show up and show out, and that's just shows you the amount of talent that we have. That's just not even a fraction of what we can represent. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see. And optics is so powerful. I think, especially over here, I think we're waiting for someone to take it. Like, you know, if not you, then who's, like one of the great sayings from one of our ancestors. And it's definitely that, you know, just to start collating that and being on one accord or one code and just understanding the power of that, and of course uplifting it when we see it as well, because we don't get to see these images often. This must have been a very like thought about image to bring together, right, as well. I don't know if this is someone's after party or what, but they knew what they were doing. They did this picture. They knew how powerful it would look. So yeah, I think we all know the power of optics. We just don't understand how powerful it is and how easy it is for us to just take ownership of it. We don't have to ask permission. You know?
Yeah, I think we mentioned, unfortunately, our community give power away in the sense of, especially when I jump on panels and they have the diversity kind of panels there, whatever. And when I bring up Black Love as a starting to build something else, but I usually get brought back, and you know, it's usually Black people bring it back. And what we don't understand is we're giving away power when we are debating about the necessity of Black love. You see, and the inclusivity of trying to dilute Black love into all love, and how that optically doesn't work in Black people's best interests. We need an agenda where it's like we want to promote constructive Black man with constructive Black woman making a constructive Black family.
Could we say, brother? Could we say, right? Go on, sis. Go on.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say. I'm staring at the picture, and it's just like there's no mess in there. Do you know what I mean? You know what you see when you're looking at that. You know, it says a lot without saying anything. You know, just an image. So yeah, go ahead, brother Cal.
I was gonna say, could we use like two strategies, right? Symbolic Black betterment imagery at that time, and symbolic Black betterment imagery all the time. The reason I'm using that for is that Brother Raven said something very interesting, is that we don't know if all of them are married to Black women or Black men. So if we categorize like at that time, symbolically Black betterment imagery at that time, it's like, yeah, you know, so it doesn't let the Black people think that they'll invest in that and think, well, it's all, you know, Black betterment. And then when they find out some of them are married, they don't lose the code of conduct, if the synchronization, if that makes any sense. So
as in deflatingness, as in like they see the image and they think this represents Black family, but in fact, kind of like, and I don't like name dropping.
There's no authenticity to it.
Yeah, as in I don't like name dropping whatever, but what's his name? The Nate Parker, Nat Parker. Yeah, because a lot of brothers and sisters, we all paid and went because it was banned in certain place. So they let us watch it. So we had to go to special showings, and then I think it came out later that a lot came out later. One, that the brother was not married to a Black woman, but also he was unfortunately involved in him and another brother was involved in a alleged rape case that was proven to be fabricated. And, the anti-Black racists use that to undermine the film and to try to get it banned because of this alleged rape that was proven not to have happened in the court of law. But the thing is, it was a European woman, a blonde woman, and he then went on to marry another blonde woman. So people thought, well, that's like a double whammy, isn't it? Like you kind of dodge that one, but you've got another one. But
You ain't learnt your lesson yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think some people that they do feel a way when and this is what I was trying to tell friends and that about the thing with marriage and families is these are long lasting concepts, right? So the reason why people might think that what I'm saying is like very extreme, but what it is with our people at any point. I was talking to a lady today who she's just transitioned into being more constructive towards practicing black women, and the thing is, there's decisions we make today that can affect us tomorrow. So you could, go partying or say a comment that's unsynchronized with black women, right? But then when you learn better, you can just change it and make good on that, right? But if you start an entire family, an entire business, an entire identity with a non-black woman or non-black man, once you become more synchronized and conscious and stuff, it becomes very difficult because it then compromises so many things. For example, the optics. You're now a successful businessman. You're the second best or the first best movie director in England or Canada or wherever it is, and now you're taking pictures with your European wife, and you're now making films about black empowerment, and now the community might find it hard to get behind you because they're saying it's not like a full package, is it? It's not, it's very, this is the issue, and we understand where that comes from. So I hear what you're saying. It's symbolic, as in, and symbolic images are also important because when you go on Shutterstock, is it Shutterstock? These kind of stock websites where you buy images of a man smiling and and he's eating cake with his wife and a gravy, and then you use that for your business to promote. So those people are actors, right? They might, who knows if they're married at all, but I guess in the regards, it's a similar thing. You're using a symbolic gesture to show what could be.
But then you're showing the error prone of it, of the package, like, okay, this is what it looks like, but also this could happen as well because our people, brother, we're very idealistic. We have this thing of we'll follow the leader, and then for some reason, as soon as the expectation of that leader due to him being unsynchronized, we just sever and destroy the whole movement and give up hope. So we need to codify every single thing to allow the mind of the black person to understand that although this is happening, stay on code. Don't destroy the code of conduct because you have been misled by something that you believe to be synchronized, because we're easily to do that, brother. It's a common thing in our community, unfortunately.
On top of what Brother Cal said, I will say as well is that when you're talking about black love, I think it is so important that it has to be authentic with the people that we see, especially with using polarized people, like people who are popular, because when it comes to black love, you're trying to promote the image and you want to make it that it is realistic. So if every single person you see is just playing it for the cameras, but in their real life, with their real generational wealth, it's not with a black woman, then it just becomes almost like a fantasy. And I think that's why people need to see real life examples of it playing out, and especially couples who have been together for quite a while as well. I think because of the westernized mentality, it's always about the youth and things like that. But culturally, we are we can still have reverence to our elders and respect our elders, and to see someone be able to be able to sustain a relationship that long as well gives you again hope and something to aim for and something to show that it's realistic. And I think it's the same problem that is it Jordan B. I forgot something Michael B. Jordan had when he was playing all of these great roles in Black Panther and stuff like that. But then when they showed the history of his dating, they were all white, and it literally broke many women's heart because and they just couldn't believe it when they started seeing it. It wasn't just one; it was like one after the other, and it was just like you're playing this this was the first. Black Panther was the first, and all the hype around it and the pride, and then come to find and about black family and everything. Come to find out in your private life, you're you know, it just doesn't hit as well. And, you know, people knew that. I mean, if you look at someone like Denzel Washington, he never ever had a role where he kissed a white woman. And he said that. Because he said he knew exactly who his supporters were, and he said that he knew the black women were the most loyal.
Well, before you carry on, you brought to a very good point. So that is one of the quintessential definitions of optics, isn't it?
Exactly.
And that's very, very nice segue there, because, and that's what we're talking about. I think I haven't got the video, but we mentioned what's his name, the first famous black actor, not Poitier, Sidney Poitier versus
Sidney Poitier,
and there's another one. The other, even though they both got white wife I should remember his name.
James L.
No, not James. Yeah, he's turned up to be. They're all mention them all. They'll do the same thing. But no, not, what's it? He literally the Bayesian singer.
What's his name? Harry.
Belafonte.
That's it. Belafonte.
Yeah, I want to get that video of where he was talking about how he desperately tried to kiss a white woman, and how there's nothing. The optics. Good point. So he really wanted to kiss this European woman in this film, and they wouldn't let him. So what he tried to do is he gave her a coconut after he drank it. And this was a big thing for him, like, you know, he touched our lips and the coconut touched it. I mean, that not to be offensive, symbolic, but no, I understand. This is bad. This is actually bad. Well, I'm saying, yeah, he's drinking this coconut fruit, and he wants to share it with this European woman. And this was like a big thing to him, you know. Yeah, you know, they won't let me kiss her, so this is what we came up with. I was like, okay. But what I'm saying is, you see how the European dominates with the optics, and when we will go to Sidney Poitier, and when he slapped the police officer, and this was they broke, because there was actually laws. You cannot strike a white man on TV. A black man cannot strike a white man on TV. This was optics. They knew that this was bad. So in the 60s when they stopped that law. This was the first thing, showing him slap a policeman, and you know, there's a million complaints. It was like, how dare you show that? You know, this is coming after years and years of no white complaints about the minstrel show and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, and then even how we can use optics, reverse optics on the minstrel shows is Europeans really historically. They really, really loved jazz, rock and roll, this kind of stuff, right? They really love ragtime, whatever. They love the early Negro spirituals and black songs. But they knew that if you show you love something, you then give that power, right? You give it. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to emulate their music, but we're going to do it in a derogative way, so we can get the kind of vibe of it, but we're still dominating, as in, yes, they make good music, but they look like monkeys, this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And so this is how they understood optics, you see. They understood that, you know, we're giving away our power by giving them credit for inventing these things. So obviously the plan came to first, stage one was the minstrel shows and this kind of stuff, and then stage two was have Europeans do black music, and then have sell it to Europeans and have European-owned music labels, and then eventually have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame run by white people, this kind of stuff, right? So these are the strategies. So these are the agendas. Hold on, the agendas and the optics, and obviously the templates they do. So black people, because like I said,
but that picture that you've got, by the way, I think you're pretty on point there, because I know for a fact two of the three couples are still together. It's just that I can't see the sister. Because she's turning, so more than likely she's in a couple as well. So three of those ones are actually in a couple that we can see their faces facing the screen.
Yeah, I think these are.
Yeah. So ancestors was with you on that one, bro.
There you go. But that's if we have an agenda.
Oh no, they just turned their back on you there.
If we have an agenda of what we're trying to achieve, then that way we can. That's what we're looking for, right? Before I forget, have you heard of the BTA Awards, the Black Tech Achievement Awards? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's known, man.
Oh yeah, is it because I've seen it on a feed, but I haven't. I need to research it more. But maybe I'll cover it. And there's a lot of black women there as well, which is good to see.
Yeah, black women are doing a really. Is it a UK or a
Yeah, UK, UK.
Yeah, and the UK field, the black women are really going in on tech. Actually,
Yeah,
I've done a few. Yeah, they're doing really well. So they're really dominating.
I think it's one of my primal things to get black people more in tech. Very much. It's create algorithms and devices that unites black people is crucial.
Well, it's interesting you said about algorithms, especially what's happening with, and this is again about optics. Like, look what's happening with TikTok. Like, you know that currently they're saying that all people in government on their government phones cannot have TikTok on. US is really pushing for TikTok to just be banned. Obviously it's China owned. They're saying that China can. They're saying the excuse that China can track you. But yeah, again, it's just this power of they want constant control of being able to feed this media, and the fact that TikTok, which is Chinese owned, is taking over what we see is a problem for them. So it comes back to what you're saying. That exactly, optics is key in this in this time right now. It is literally king. If I control what you see and what you hear, I control how you think. And if China is now the one that you're going to, then the old guard is are scared, and you can see it to the fact that they're even banning it on like their government's phones. They're trying to ban the whole app in America. So yeah, optics is so key. And the thing is, we are the biggest consumers, but if you tell a black person who's not necessarily on their consciousness this, they'll look at you like you're crazy. Which is mad, because we see it all the time. That you see it in your face and you don't know that you're getting it like spoon fed to you. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying about agendas. How do you
exactly?
How do you promote that? You want to promote that because there is a big spending power in the black community. So it's about how do you circulate that pound or that dollar or that yen or whatever it is.
Actually, I don't think it's the time to try and fight against it. I think if we know that this is the only way to do it, how do we do our own? How do we do our own agenda? How do we do our own algorithm to keep our own people in here? How do we keep them seeing videos that we want them to see? How do we keep pushing a message onto their faces like they do to us when we're watching normal TV and every advert's a mixed race person? What if we controlled that? Do you know what I mean? And we made sure that you saw images that were good for us overall. You know, the game would change. So I definitely 100% with you on that.
If we could start off by what Brother Raven did with the pictures, and if they decide to shut that down, then we can always have like symbols and acronyms of, you know, BW, BM, you know, black woman, black man, and all the time kind of showing that in bold black letters or bold red and black green letters or whatever it may be, just to let you know that we're talking about or we're showing you black man, black woman, love, you know. So yeah, we could start off like that.
Nice picture here. I don't just at the Black Tech Awards, smiling black man and woman.
Yeah, it looks like it's a bow tie event, very smart event, which is nice.
There you go. Okay, what's going on here? There's not okay. Don't know what's it. Oh, so it's a GIF, so you can't blow it up. So. So, okay, that's nice, sisters, isn't it? Okay, what's going on? We can pause. What's going on here? Is this the same event?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay. All right. Black Tech. Right, okay. Is this a video?
So this wasn't like this wasn't streamed anywhere then on nowhere.
I don't know. I was aware of it, but I wasn't aware of the event. If it's something we should be covering and trying to really highlight, really. I'm good to find out the owners. Very important.
This is the biggest frustration because this is a beautiful thing. It's happening on our soil, yet it's not getting pushed.
Yeah.
But we have to push this ourselves, though, Sister Kusha, because you know, you've got all these clubhouse and okay, it's not owned by us, but we're, you know, predominantly on the social media, so we just have to keep sending the message, you know, all the time.
Definitely.
I just wanted to touch upon what Brother Raven said, man, which we failed to realize. He said something very alarming, man, in regards to when non-black people, when they promote your stuff, it's like they compliment you and then they have to destroy at the same time. And we need to kind of unpack that as well, man, because, you know, do we just say the moment they copy our culture, you know, kindly and respectfully say you're misappropriating straight away. You're misappropriating. You know, stop that. Before the dopamines rely on them giving us the compliment and then, you know, destroying us afterwards. What's your opinion on that?
No, I do agree. I do agree. So I'm just looking at this event.
It looks like a great event. It's like, I think that's an actor there. So it looks like, you know, it should have got pushed out. It's a shame it's just, it went, you know, streams at least somewhere on a YouTube channel or something like that and things like that. Because this is tech, this is our future, and this is our soil, black people. Be good to see what they've created, what new, you know, app is out there. What could help us? What could help? How could we use that for black betterment in regards to business, you know, relationships, services, education, health, you know. So who knows what all of these people have got all these awards for and what they created.
Yeah, true.
And like what Brother Cal says, for us to do our own research, but that's for us that are in the know. So, you know, and we know we're not all on one accord. So, yeah, it's just, again, it'd be good to get that all pushed out there because we don't know the wealth that's in that room. There's a wealth in that room.
But it's optics and obviously templates in the sense of, you know, unfortunately, there's some young people, they grow up in certain environments and all they see is one or two things that might be, it's very error-prone behavior, and they aspire to move into error-prone behavior. So we want to have up the optics on high principle behavior and make that alluring, make that fun, show the benefits of tech, of how you can use this, you know, and how people can prosper in this world. I think that should be a primary that we definitely get that done, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely with you. I think as well with the optics, it's, you know, it's like when I heard that Nigeria banned European models. And that again is just so good for so many reasons, you know, for little girls growing up with regards it's bleaching or Western beauty standards. That's just probably eliminated a lot of those problems. If you can have that in a country that's predominantly black, when you look around you, it's that's still an issue. You can see how powerful this is.
Have you slightly segued somewhere else, but I just want, have you seen that video? It's definitely error prone, but a video of the two African sisters. One is UK based, and one is I would say Nigerian based. And I think they're on. I don't know the name of these shows because I haven't watched these shows in a long time, but they come in the morning. Like I would quit GMTV, but that's probably an old name. I don't know if they use that kind. TVAM.
GMB.
Yeah. That's how they call it now. Okay.
Good Morning Britain. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I know the one where she takes off the wig.
Yes, that one. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Right. So it's a long time back there, but because I with the clip,
can you get that up? Have you blackified it?
I haven't blackified.
That would be so good for a conversation on optics, actually.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. But yeah,
You'll definitely be able to get that on YouTube.
Was it called TV?
GMB, black woman Paul takes off wig. It'll probably come up straight away.
Black Women's Week.
And it's GMB. Good morning, Britain.
Yeah,
I think it was GMB, anyways. Actually.
Yeah, give us some time because I don't know the backstory, and I assume, and I'm probably wrong, I assume that the woman who took her wig off first is someone who is a promoter of skin bleaching, and maybe she owns her own company. That am I wrong?
I don't know.
Because that's what I want to.
She's a promoter of skin bleaching. I think it was. That's what I say you should. But I think what I can remember of it is that they were in a debate. Oh, well done.
Black model defends her choice to lighten her skin.
Oh, okay. I thought it was about the hair.
No, so what? No, what it is, because this is what, because I've seen her before. I want to say she either is a famous skin bleaching model from Nigeria or Africa somewhere, I can't remember, or she actually runs the company herself. Because I've come across her.
Yeah, her face looks familiar.
Very familiar, right?
Yeah.
And the assumption was the darker skinned lady was saying it isn't best to do that, like for plethora of reasons, but the African, well, the in-house African, I born actually on the land African, actually use a debate technique of like just not red herrings, but like changing the narrative. And
she used a shocker. She took off her whole wig.
Yeah, she did that to take all emphasis off the topic and go to a new topic, which is another topic that many Black women, are very not uncomfortable. There's an uncomfortable nature about wigs and this kind of stuff on public TV.
But for me, it's like when she took off the wig, what she was trying to say is, well, you're wearing a wig, because she was trying to say, to be comfortable in your own skin. And then I think what happens typically with Black people is she turned around and said, well, if we're going to go that far, why are you wearing a wig? So, and that's why she took off the wig. So like you said, she turns it, and that's what happens with Black people. You tell a Black person something, they'll turn around and say, well, what about this? Or what about that? And do you know what I mean? It always goes down that lane, like, who's Black enough? Well, do you know what I mean? Well, I'm so true to Black people. And it's just, the point of discussion is now lost. It's now who's more, between those two, it's who's more natural.
So, the guys, I'm downloading the video. Hold on, let me get this thing here. There we go. Yeah. So I'm assuming the algorithm. I could be wrong. I'm assuming the algorithm picks up video and sound. So I'm assuming I could be wrong. If I put the video inside here and we're there, and I'm shaking a maraca like that or something, right? It might mess up the algorithm so we can play it. But I don't want to take a risk. But let's see. I think if we keep it in the thing, it might be seen as. And let me put something across it like this. So I'll put that across it like that.
Don't get me wrong. The discussion needs to happen, especially if she's an owner as a Black woman of bleaching products and she wants to promote bleaching products. But to have it on Master's show so he can look at you two arguing over something of self-hate is all wrong on all levels. Do you know what I mean?
Would it be better for us to say she's an unsynchronized Black woman? Because if we say the Black woman, there's a lot of us. Because I believe that when it comes to us, we have to categorize us, synchronize. Non-Black people, you have to generalize all of them. But with us, we have to categorize, because if we don't, then dopamine go. You understand the thing, innit? Yeah.
You might have mentioned a template there, bro. You might have mentioned a template there. That might be a template to promote. So I'm just gonna play this. Hopefully you'll figure it out.
Your skin when you were a model. So was that an image that was expected of you at that time?
Actually, I haven't lightened my skin being a model. I was modeling here. I was very dark. Right. It's actually when I decided to kind of, be less of a, what the media wanted. So for me, the story is very controversial too, because I remember you. You remember.
Well, I'm glad. How do you mean less of what the media wanted?
Yeah, because people think I do that because it's a trend that we have to follow. Maybe Beyonce. For me, Beyonce, yes, she's beautiful, but she's talented as well. That's why she should be remembered, recognized for. Yes, I mean, the lighter skin. yeah, I lighten up, maybe a dark spot. And yes, if you've done one cheek, you need to, have it even out, because you can't have...
But why do it? Because there are those who say, you were born with your skin, you have black skin, you're proud of your skin. Why change it?
Well, why tanning? Why dyeing your hair?
Is that her?
The question is there. The answer would never be found. For me, it's a free world. We are okay to do so as long as we're not harming, anyone.
Yeah.
I mean...
OK, AJ, I wanted to ask you, because you said it was only when you first moved to London, actually, that you experienced the issue of colorism for the first time. So just explain what that is and how it affected you.
So shadism, colorism, it's something that actually tends to happen a lot in the black community, where the darker you are, it's less beautiful, and the lighter you are, it's more beautiful. And this is an issue that is apparent within the black community, where I feel, actually, we should be making steps forward. We should really stand up and be counted. And it's us who set the beauty standards. If we were all to make our skin paler, I think that would be us conforming to what the beauty standards are currently set
Is
at.
this down to class?
I think in some instances it can be. For example, in Asia, it's apparent that if you work outside, you get a deep tan, and people who have higher paid jobs work indoors and therefore are paler. I don't think that is necessarily the case in this country. I think our issues lie from within, actually, and I think, first and foremost, I want to say that nobody should be judged, including yourself, if they are to go and use these methods of lightening our skin. I think if you truly believe that that is a thing for you, then fair enough. However, I think the issue comes if you feel like you're going to do better at work. I think
it's not that. For me, it's more of a personal thing, and we're here standing, today is the 100th anniversary of women getting the right to vote. I'm not going to be here and having somebody with fake hair on telling me exactly how I should look like. I mean, you're Nigerian, right?
I am.
You should be
Nigerian.
here in your traditional clothes. You should take this freaking wig off. Let's show them Africa.
I think
this is where we have to go. You can't, this is the wrong person to kind of come and talk to me about it. You know exactly. If I go and open that little cupboard of yours, I see something which will be exactly there for a dark spot. We all go through. It's good. It's been going on. Take your wig off. Let's show them. It's been going on for decades.
I think what your issue is that actually you're arguing
I don't think I have an issue.
Which isn't in the realms of possibility. If I took off my wig and had my afro hair out, I could straighten my hair and it would look like this. I think the realms of possibility, if you was to go if you was to go to Africa for a month, it's within the realms of your possibility to have darker skin. If we were to move to the North Pole tomorrow, it's not within the realms of our possibility to get lighter. That is my problem.
Isn't it just being more accepting regardless? Regardless of whatever colour, skin, whatever, just to be more accepting of one another's choices, isn't it?
Well, there we go. To me, it's one of it.
Let me start there. Hopefully my algorithm disruptor worked. It's probably not. Probably
you have to be laughing with those shakes. Those gentle shakes.
The thing, and this is important because I'm going to have to try to pull it into some kind of word or template or code. But it's the advice from white people when they like for like, and I think it just happened there. And let's take it back, where she tried to have a solution, and it was very similar to like to everyone equal solution.
Colour, skin, whatever, just to be more accepting of one another's choices, isn't it?
So just accept a person's choice. What they're saying is we recognize that there's anti-black behaviors going on, and people are damaging their skin by bleaching it to try to emulate a European beauty standard. And we're saying we want to reject that and say, let us try to love how our skin is naturally black and this kind of stuff. And the woman has a solution that undermines that. Just love people for what they are. It doesn't matter what they do. It has, it doesn't come from you should not. It's in your best interest not to bleach your skin. It's whatever person is, just love that. So I think that could be a similar thing there. Something that we need to be aware of a non-black person giving advice that doesn't necessarily help. The opposite, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's absolutely talking from ignorance. She knows nothing. She just literally just said that if the girl wants to poison herself, then she should just be able to get on and do it to fit a standard of white and beauty. And this is why you should not have these discussions on these places, because she doesn't understand. I mean, I don't know if they do it before or after, but there's no reference to the health implications to what she's doing whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, it's just not. I mean, especially she's doing. I mean, I didn't remember the picture. I mean, she was really a really deep hue.
Yes.
You know, so she really did bleach. You know.
Yeah.
So if she's now doing products or promoting that, then you know that this day and age, I can't even believe people still do that. To be honest.
I think it's quite. Yeah, I think it's quite widespread. But once again, optics, templates.
Yeah, but the optics on that is, you know, I felt that the collective community have kind of had an understanding that that's not to be promoted, if that makes sense. So to have a business right now of it is just, you know, it just shows how gone some of us really are.
Yeah, it's unsynchronized. And then having the non-Africans acting like they don't know what time it is when all that comes from them.
Exactly. Because I did, you know, you just set my mind, you know, because even when she asked her, she said, where did this stem from? And although the sister says she's right, it's an internal problem, we all know where it initially came from, you know. So,
that's a very good point to bring up. Like sometime, and we need to try to put that into some kind of symbolic paragraph or some kind of wording where there's disagreements or fighting between choices that Black people are doing, and yet it is forgotten that the root of it is coming from another people group. You see?
Yeah. And this is how they rewrite our history. This is what they're doing at this time right now, where they're just making it, well, this is now, if you're young watching this growing up, you're just going to think, well, this is always a Black thing. You know, you're not going to go any further. You're going to feel the secondhand embarrassment. You're going to see this. Black people themselves are saying it comes from our own culture. Like, what, for example, if she did something to make herself darker? I think that they favour that tone. Even the way she was saying, it was like, she was almost saying, well, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, she looks fine to me. Even seeing her before and after picture, because we know that it stems from them, they favour a lighter hue. So if she was darker, I bet if it was just on the flip, I bet their reaction would be a lot different, because that is just shocking. You know, to just look at that and bypass that and just keep talking. That's like, well, you know, she wants to poison herself and she likes it. What's the problem? It's just very telling.
And the envy that she can go darker and lighter, which they can't do the opposite. So the thing is as well, the strategy that I believe it needs to be is that I remember when I was younger, when I used to go out clubbing and with the guys, and I remember like what I noticed what the females, the Black women would do, which is very remarkable, is that when they meet up, they'll compliment each other in the house. So as soon as someone comes in, oh, you look gorgeous, you look lovely, I love you, texture of your skin, your hair, blah, blah, blah. So when they're all going out, Brother Raven, right, they're confident. You understand?
Yes.
They're confident. Yes. When we go out, right, before we go out, you'll get a man who comes in, oh, bro, you look like you this, you look that, you know what I mean? That's tatty. So when we all go out now, we're not confident. We need to market what the Black woman does beautifully before she goes out collectively. If we start complimenting each other when we see each other, your skin looks good, you know what I mean? And I can see that the melanin is showing kindness to you, etc. And collectively do that, we can go outside confident, like how the Black woman market themselves to compliment each other. So when they do go out, they have an impeccable, unpenetratable force that you cannot tackle unless you're confident to tackle it.
Good point. Just so you know, I made a slight mistake. The woman who had a bleach company, I've come across her. She was on Channel 4. She wears a lot of glasses and blonde wigs and this kind of thing. So her face is always different in different billboards. There is actually it's quite a similarity. Maybe it's because they're using the same product. I don't know. But Let me see if I can play some of her stuff. Download. Where is it? Once again, I'm going to use my on-the-fly algorithm shifter. So if you hear any kind of music, whatever, that's me trying to disrupt the algorithms.
Bless up Poetic Empress, and bless up, I think, God of Jacob that came through earlier on, if he's still here.
Bless up. Big up the family there.
Big up.
Back Betterment all. Let's
Back
play it now.
Betterment.
Let's shift it now.
Well, with me now is the pop star and creator of Whitenicious, Denzia, and in a moment I'll also be talking to Fina Ikeji, who founded Black Role Models UK. Denzia, can I ask you first of all, do you equate looking lighter with being more beautiful, with looking better?
No, I don't. I don't. Everybody has a choice as an adult to choose to look how they want.
But you yourself look very much lighter than in the pictures of you from a couple of years ago. You look extremely white in this advert.
Yeah.
The point is you're trying to sell a product. You must think that looks better.
No, it doesn't. First of all, Whitenicious is a dark spot remover. It's a 30 ml product. 30 ml cannot...
That seems to be a consistent marketing theme there, the dark spot remover.
That white woman is tripping over her words. She don't know what to do or say, does she?
It's like not even up to 1/3 of this. So it's for dark spot. It's for everybody. Everybody needs Whitenicious.
But why did you call it Whitenicious? I mean, that says everything, doesn't it? The
It
play
says
on delicious.
Whitenicious means white means pure. White means, but it doesn't mean that white skin, but white in general. That's how I look at it. It means pure. When you have dark spots, a lot of people don't feel confident. They don't feel pure. They don't feel clean with dark spots.
With respect, the photos of you before and the ones you used to promote your cream, it looks like a lot more than small dark spots have been removed. You're visibly lighter all over.
But see,
and the point is, if that is the image you're putting forward to sell your product, you must think that's better.
No, I wasn't. My product says say goodbye to dark spots and hyperpigmentation.
But sorry, but my point is you've said goodbye to more than dark spots.
But see, I wasn't saying
much lighter.
It doesn't say
in all the photos.
It doesn't say buy Whitenicious and look like Denzia. It says say goodbye to dark spots and hyperpigmentation.
But in an interview you did with Ebony, you said by putting those photos being out, people know the product works.
It works for dark spots. That's what he says. Say goodbye to dark spots.
But the point is,
it says behind you, say goodbye.
Of course, but do you not concede that you are very much lighter there, which is your choice, absolutely your choice. But it's the message it's sending out which has been so controversial, isn't it?
But see, that's because the media is selling that message. That's not the message I was selling. I say 7 days fast acting dark spot remover. It didn't say 7 days fast act dark spot bleaching your whole skin. You people need to read. It's called reading comprehension. If they miss that class, it's not my fault.
If you
read and comprehend.
You listen, and I know you heard what the...
Let's see what the sister has to say, the other sister who's on the panel. It's going to skip over the... I'm hoping that we don't get a strike or anything. But we're experimenting with the new algorithm changer. So let's see.
And it's in her own opinion. The question now is, and it's really important about the message that we're bringing across, because yes, you've got your opinion. But what you...
Those joining, we're talking about the optics. One of the things we're mentioning is templates, optics, and agendas, and we're saying things we can do in an optical way. To benefit Black people. So we're obviously fighting arguing on TV optically isn't great, and also promoting certain kind of behavior patterns that doesn't work in our collective best interests, and we're using this as a case study. We're looking at a sister who sells, an unsynchronized sister who sells bleaching products.
What you're producing, I mean, the name as well is just, the name says it. The name says Whitelicious. It means, you know, it's just a name. You know, you're talking about the name. We've got old pictures of you and pictures of you now. And for young girls, that's where I'm looking at. I'm an adult, so I've already made up my choice. I'm happy with my skin color. But we're looking at the young girls that are growing up now. They see you, they love your music, they love you as a person, and they've seen you that you were darker before and now you're much lighter. What's the message it's going to be to them? They're going to think, okay, do you know what? I want to be like her as well. And then that affects their self-esteem. And that's where we're coming from. We don't want to have lots of young girls who have low self-esteem, because these low self-esteems leads to other things. We're talking about, being promiscuous. We're talking about so many other things that having a low self-esteem can cause. And that's the part I see.
the point. Okay. You've made your point, but this is it. Did I put a picture of dark Denzel light on the media? Did I do that? No. You, the media, you guys sold it. I didn't sell what initials like that.
In the interview that you did with Ebony, you said, fine, it's selling my products. I'm happy with that.
But the media, I said the media is selling my products. I never put that out. I never put out an old picture of me. If I wanted to put it, I'll put the dark and light.
Do you accept the point made that Fina is making?
But listen, my role model when I was growing up was my older sister right in my house, Wendy Sonke. She's your skin color. She never touched her skin. She never changed her skin. But I love her. I love how she lives her life. She's a good person. That's my role model. That's why I wanted to do music. That's why I wanted to become famous. But she never changed her skin. It doesn't mean that when somebody's your role model, pick out the good things in the person and do it. You don't have to, I didn't say if you want to be an artist, you don't have to be light skinned. There's numerous dark skinned artists out there if you want to look like them. There's many confident women, and your skin color does not reduce or increase your confidence. But I tell you one thing, the women who buy white initials for their dark spot, they tell me it has, like, I have girls calling me and crying and thanking me for white initials.
In a sense, is there a point that, we all do our hair, you can color your hair, you can change your clothes, put makeup on. Why is this different?
This is different because of the consciousness, and you're
I'll
a
stop
pop
it
star.
there
So
before
people
we
are
get a copyright strike. Hopefully, Random Rackers will fix that, but who knows? Maybe the live has been cut now. We don't even know. All right. So then let's go back to the. Oh, if I could really. Oh my God. Present.
She was beautiful with her skin the way she was born. I don't know why she changed her skin.
Well, this is the thing. There's I'm hoping this doesn't affect technically it shouldn't, but with our community, things always get reversed. I'm noticing within the European community, more so the Eastern European, but generally all the Europeans, they're getting things done to their lips. Some say to imitate black women. I can understand why they would want to. However, I would hate for that to then bleed back into the black community if it hasn't already, where they feel they need to spend this amount of money to alter their lips and this kind of thing.
What, the black woman?
Yeah, as in, because I'm aware that unfortunately many black women have passed away going to certain countries. Yeah, this kind of stuff, and it's interesting that it's and I think it's obviously the thing is black women come in different size and shapes.
I think some black women are doing it though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, it's the issue is like, can we optically now? I think because I don't really watch daytime TV. I don't watch TV at all. But I might come across something when someone says, "Have you seen this? They did this." So I'll check a show out, and then I'm looking at the modern day people, and just even their physical presentation is very dynamic to what I'm used to.
What people are you talking about?
Well, to be honest, if I'm watching American TV, it might be black people, to be honest, with some of the fashion senses. But in England, it's like all these kind of reality shows where they have women dating men and men dating men as well. But on their shows, and the women all look similar. They've all gone to the same kind of surgeon to whatever it is to make their lips. White women.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. I'm hoping that doesn't become a thing in the black community. If it is already, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Because, like you said, a prime example of that is a BBL.
Yes.
So yeah, I hear you. I think, yeah, it's just weird with that. But I to be honest with you, I wouldn't say no 100% like I would probably a few years back. But I think the thing is that most black women, I think what it's going to be is just the same with the BBL. I think initially a lot of the women who were going for a BBL didn't necessarily have the stereotypical image of a bum of a black woman, right? So this cartoon, I mean the whole 2000s music video fixing. So she might still be beautiful,
But if we unpack that,
sorry.
If we unpack that, jumping for just because you mentioned very important points, we jump back. The music videos of R&B and this kind of stuff of the women back in 2000 and late whatever, they weren't that dynamic. They were normal women of a certain age, on a music video, right? And there was some guy who said that, or is it a woman who said that the dynamic made body shape actually has its history in transgendered men, as in it's transgendered men who went and got these kinds of, because they were men, right? So they look like men, so they would get these dynamic kind of looks, and then somehow influence European women or whatever it might be, and then they mimic that, and then now it's gone full circle.
What, with the BBL?
Yeah, as in like that BBL was.
I don't know if I believe that. And to come back to us, to go through transgender to white women to back to us. I don't think I believe that kind of route. I definitely think it's the 2000, because a lot of them were like women are naturally, black women naturally curvy anyway, so there was a lot of natural curves, but the ones that were like the main ones were the ones who had this bodacious booty. Do you know what I mean? Before people knew of BBL, and it was like an in kind of house, Hollywood, certain amount of money secret. Do you know what I mean? And then, as always, these things filter down. It's more accessible. The secret's out. You don't have an A list and a Z list. Now you've got B, Z, C, G, F list. Do you know what I mean? Anyone's a celeb now. Everyone's got a secret. It gets cheaper. You could go to Turkey, you can go to Dominique to get in now. Plastic surgery used to be like elite. You'd go to Harley Street, or you'd go to like plastic surgeons in America, in Silicon Valley. Now, like, people are going to Turkey. So I think it just filtered down. I think, people found out that, if I get a bigger one, I get a bigger bum, I get bigger attention, better attention. I just think it came down from that, to be honest with you. So I do think initially it was just women who just never really had a bum that would make you double look, or do you know what I mean? They had this paranoia in their faces, because I know of two women, and they're a friend of a friend, but I saw them at like a birthday party and they looked very different, and I was just like, oh my god, like, do you know what I mean? This is the second person I've seen in real life. So so to me, and again, those two women, they were fine, but do you know what I mean? It wasn't what it is now. Do you know what I mean?
And I think the promotion of variables and that's the thing. When one aesthetic,
every music around there was a big booty girl, and like it was all about that then as well. Do you know what I mean? Everything was about the booty. It still is, but like start of it. Do you know what I mean? We went from like, I don't know, Boys to Men, SWV to big booty girls. Do you know what I mean? We went to Nelly, and do you know what I mean? So 2000s was the time of, they've always been walking around in bikinis and stuff, but those women from like the early 90s and stuff, they were natural. Do you know what I mean? It was 2000 when the big booty one was the one facing, like, her back is facing the camera and the rapper's in front of her or behind her or whatever, and she's just there to show her booty, and she's huge.
I'm seeing a lot of templated like rappers and drill rappers, and they've got the template of wearing a mask, showing off rented cars and rented jewelry, and then obviously model women who've had tremendous, European women usually, to be honest, who've had tremendous, and this is black rappers, have had work done, and it's a cliche is one thing, but it's almost, I don't know, it's almost surreal to see that, because you go on certain YouTube channels where they might promote, because I don't listen to trap rap anyway, and just to see what what is seen as the standard to do.
As a woman or as a man?
When you talking about me watching, you mean? What
like when you said the standard, was you shocked at like the woman?
Well, as in there's a music production, and the music production consists of a guy in a mask talking.
Was this British or American?
Sorry? British.
Okay.
But I mean, they're both the same, to be fair.
It's like what you were saying with the minstrel tactics, right?
Yes.
That the non-African people, they have to assassinate the black woman's natural curves.
Yes.
So if they can get her, the unsynchronized black woman, to let the world know that even I need to upgrade and get more silicone in my
Exactly.
back posterior, that will let the non-African women say to themselves, well, if she's doing it, we can do it. Push her out, right? The unsynchronized black woman's bleaching already, so we can impersonate a character of her, promote that while pushing her out. And this is the sad thing about it. It's making the unsynchronized black women market
And
for
synchronization, yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it's an unsynchronized agenda, you see. That's what it is. It's an unsynchronized maker. There's a lot of those going on. And I guess we have to have our own agenda, our own templates, and our own optics. And the thing is, obviously, we always say all the time, but once again, not controlling music and that you can't really control what you put out. But I think the diversity of ideas is important. So you're not seeing one thing, but also I think like there should be a ratio in rappers or musicians where you have slackness or nonsense miss of conscience. So you have to like have like maybe a minimum of 30% consciousness, or something. At least musically or in your head, where it's like you're aware, but unfortunately, many of people, young people, they're not really aware, and that's our job to campaign to them to make them more aware.
Also, Brother Raven, I'm going to say something very controversial, so I hope the public understand where I'm coming from. All complexions, brother, is genetically dominant. The dark, as what I was raised to say, the chocolate complexion, the chocolate caramel, and the chocolate vanillas, right? But the issue is with the chocolate caramels, as that other sister was before she became, pale, is that they still emanate that genetical emphasis, dominant gene. Whereas when it comes to the chocolate vanillas, the white supremacists can use them, and although the child will have a little bit of a tan, but it's more secure in the race, they white opposite what they call the original white. So that's why that particular complexion is more pushed more. That's why the sister, unfortunately, the unsynchronized sister, became that complexion, because it's more favored. That makes any sense.
It makes sense, and that's why we have to have campaigns and agendas where we promote, the what we call the epitome standard blackness, the dark skin brown women and black women. We have to have campaigns to have that kind of black beauty promoted. Magazines, we have ratios where you have certain people in there, certain percentages and stuff, and just certain narratives. That's why the word agenda is very important, because when it becomes an agenda, there's many black people who think, like, especially when they go on panels, they generally believe that things will just fix themselves. They have no and I know it sounds, what I'm going to say sounds very controversial, but the reason why I choose to always start saying like the European or the white man is superior to the black man at marketing his own beauty standards or his own agenda is because I need to break straight through to the brain computer. Like this is planned work, and you can only beat planned work with planned work. Yeah. If a person has taken 100 years to take something from you, it doesn't just mysteriously fall back into your lap. You have to have a plan, an agenda to take it back. And when you talk, unfortunately, when I go on many of these panels, they're very kumbaya led, very kumbaya. I remember I was explaining to one show, I won't say names, and I remember I was saying, I'm here, if you guys have any idea, I'll support your ideas as long as it's black led. And one gentleman said he had a philosophy where he tears down a system, and and I go, sounds good, whatever. And then I think I said, oh, well, anything where you're reversing racism with constructive behavior or a black betterment, that's fine. Then I asked him, I said, this is just for black people, right? It goes, oh no, it's for everybody. I said, I can't co-sign that. I can't co-sign that. and obviously he was then obviously devastated. You know, he was he started using colorism and tribalism, this kind of stuff to get back at the sort of comment web. Well, what I'm saying is, but you have to go. Look, you do understand that, you know, there was a dedicated agenda to undermine and mistreat black people, so to change the perception of how the world sees black people. So today that agenda has gone through, and that's why so many of us are in a collective wretched condition that you see. And it's only to come together and practicing black betterment and having an agenda to understand how to create templates to be able to control the optics, can we reverse what we've gone through. But it starts with us acknowledging that it's half time and we're losing 3-0. The game's not over, but it's half time and we're losing. So before the full-time whistle goes, what are we going to do as a collective to come forward? And my job there is to break down this narrative of we are the world, everyone's equal, you know, I'm a brother's keeper. It's kind of like, you know, we're all one, you know, love will make it better, all this kind of stuff, right? And say, no, agendas are important. So openly saying I'm a black person and I want to help black people thrive is important. I want to have black ownership. I want to have black love, black economics, all this kind of stuff. Very important. And the taboo of it being terrible is a part of the agenda of the anti-black racists to keep black people inadequate. You see?
Yeah.
Because if you keep us inadequate, then we're not going to actually try to reverse the effects of anti-black racism that's gone on for so many years. So it's this kind of conversation we need to have, but we need to use these words. And that's why every time I start, I say, unfortunately, black people, we are collectively inadequate. And the European man or the white man is superior over the black man at marketing his own beauty standards. You see? And if ever I'm talking about black love and the most aggressive, muscly black men try to stop me and go, no, then I understand already that the white man's marketing is working. Because really, everyone should be a round of applause in this comment. But if we're not getting that, we're not there yet.
Agreed.
Also, to the black men out there, it shouldn't be the roles of black women to promote black love in the sense. Yeah, they should be promoting black love. But what I mean is, it should be up them to talk about why it's important for a black woman to be with a black man. And then that should be led by black men.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
Interesting point.
Care to elaborate?
Let's break that down.
Yeah.
So, I remember seeing it when I was in college. It was a nervousness of black women trying to explain to black men how they feel or wanted to be with black men, but black men want to be with everyone. Yeah. So the black woman had understood the importance of black family and how black families are produced, and saying, "I want to pick a black man." There's many different black men in the world. You can pick one, and there's many different black women in the world. You can pick one. But you found that it was the black men, unfortunately. Let me be more correct. The unsynchronized black man. This is correct. Brother Ken is right. The unsynchronized black man, who was who would be bringing forward this universal love and I've always found it what I've always found fascinating. I always use Speaker's Corner as the case study. Is I will go amongst people who will talk about chemtrails, aliens, the moon landing being not real. I'm not saying this stuff is real or not real. You know, the people understand what they understand. And yet when I say that there has been an agenda to undermine black love and to keep the black man out of the home and stuff, this is all super science. You know, this is a cartoon show. I'm thinking that I just, you know, you have all these conspiracy guys who go Speaker's Corner who believe in all this kind of like fringe information. Michael Jackson's still alive. Tupac lives in Spain. All this kind of stuff, right? But when I say there's an agenda to undermine black progress and black love, this is a fantasy show. This is a free epic novel of just wild allegations, and I'm spreading hate. It's like, I don't know. So interesting. But once again, this is the plan of
conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, you know what I mean. They believe everything out there. Michael Jackson's alive with one arm in Germany, whatever. But when you talk about black men, the agenda to push them away from black women, this is crazy. And I don't mean to be cruel to crass, but unfortunately, with so many black men, we have to unsynchronize black men. Sorry, we have to taking away access to white women is a big thing. It's a big thing, you know. Like depriving them the right to marry white is, ooh, damn, this is a lot. And a lot of the fights, like not fights, but a lot of the harsh kind of, a lot of the harsh kind of tones I get come from that. You know, you know, I could go into a panel of gangster rappers, and the white gangster rapper, black gangster rapper, Chinese gangster rapper, and then I could say, so what, you guys, you this is the black man, and when the black man says, I'm gonna put a gun to your head and blow it off, you're okay with that, right? Yeah, it's okay because it's the street, it's real, whatever. When I say constructive black man with constructive black woman, we have to hold the press. We need to pause. We have to really review that. So I'm saying that this is a black man issue. It's the constructive black man, the synchronized black man, has to get through to the unsynchronized black man the importance of promoting the optics of black love. Yeah, as a primary. So that means that, and that sounds very shocking. If you are, I mean, and this is where people will disagree and probably try to throw the table over. But when you have, what is it? If you have millions of followers, and this is what you're constantly promoting, you know, and you don't ever promote any kind of constructive black love, but and that people go, well, the thing is, these men are naturally, they haven't chosen black women, so naturally they're going to promote, you know, what they're with. And this is
And I don't even think those two have even still those relationships are even still together. And this is the thing, most of them, they're not even. It's just ridiculous because they're willing to like get married, lose their wealth in a settlement, right? And it's just, yet this image, it doesn't put off the next ones. It's like they still continue to do it. So it's not even about the longevity. And this is what I'm saying.
But what I would say is, when you talk to these gentlemen and stuff, in their defense, if I can say that, is are they aware of the importance of black love and black economics and black? But are they aware? Like, and I said the reason why we talk about agendas is, you know, like right now, Black Lives Matter is the default thing. When black people are mistreated in any country now, they're gonna get a sign around Black Lives Matter, right? So this was a trained template that many people have learned now. So we just watched the Tunisian thing, and they mistreat the Tunisians as they tend to do. And you see Tunisians outside of Black Lives Matter. Now, those Tunisians will not have Black Lives Matter had the George Floyd thing that happened, right? Now, obviously, the sisters meant well, but it was heavily influenced by non-black people, so it's something we have to be very wary of. But what I'm saying is, that's still a template that someone has used. So if we have, like Brother Umar, every time I always have to give him props, because what he does is, whenever a brother becomes unsynchronized as it pertains to optically promoting non-black love, someone always quotes Umar. So then Umar then becomes a template, you see, as in like an awareness that, oh, there is a brother saying there is a value in black love. So I think that could be a considered effort amongst synchronized black men to train the unsynchronized black men the importance of black love, and even if you don't practice it, the importance of optics. You see, as in, you know, you got millions of followers, and every video you make is white women and non-black women, and you know you're not showing a positive energy or light, or any energy or light towards black women. And I do think the strategy, and this is going to be the shock, is to let black people know, unfortunately, we are collectively inadequate. For me, it's a very successful, very effective tool. I go on many panels, and usually here's how it normally works. You go on a panel, you mention black love, black economics, or black betterment, whatever it is. They tell you, everyone joins together to tear you down because they're being marketed by the anti-black racists. And then you spend all your time defending the concept, because in their mind, black people and white people, all people are equal in all things. But when you start by going, unfortunately, brother, because we're inadequate, collectively inadequate, I'm working towards constructive black brothers to fix this, then it's a now shifter. They now have to then defend the claim against it, like, you're actually lying. We black people are doing very good. Then you go, really? Can you define industry we own? Can you define data that shows that we are adequately behaving as it pertains to black economics and black love? And then obviously they struggle. And then in that scenario, you're controlling the narrative. You don't enter the domain on a defensive, as most black people have to do whenever you say anything constructively about black people progressing. That's just a strategy that I do. But let me
That's a good
know.
strategy, but
It's a very good, very good, man.
I would like to say on the back of what you said about men having to lead it. And I just think that that's interesting because many times when I've been on panels and things, I've noticed that, especially the unsynchronized brother, if he's going to have a conversation about that, he normally initiates the conversation with the black woman.
Yes.
Which is odd.
Mm.
And I never really see the conversation getting initiated with a brother who is unsynchronized. With that brother will never have that kind of conversation with a brother that they know is on code. Especially, yeah. So I find that quite interesting. And quite recently, I've seen a shift where I don't know. Maybe it's just a backlash on what's been promoted recently. And black brothers from little pockets of different areas, I've been getting these videos of them kind of pushing back on it, where they're just independently doing it. I've seen one or two recently where they've actually been on power nulls and gone back and forth, and the unsynchronized brothers just literally gobsmacked. Because I think they're used to having these discussions with females because they're happy to argue with females. And they have a very probably feminine style of having an argument.
Yes.
So when they come to a synchronized man, those kind of feminine traits won't necessarily be tolerated, or they would be exposed a lot quicker, and it seems to be more embarrassing to them. Even though when they're having those conversations with female, it still comes out the same way. It just seems to hit differently.
No, I agree. I hear that.
Yeah, so don't know why brothers don't just, strike up more conversations with these brothers, because, it's not like they have, in my opinion, much masculinity to hit back. I think as soon as they get questioned, they just kind of simmer straight away because they're used to having these kind of conversations with women.
I suspect there's a multitude of answers. The most unsatisfying is, unfortunately, you might find many panels where most of the brothers are engaging in a relationship or marriage, whatever, with a non-black woman. So then they become compromised in their mind of what they can and can't say. And on certain platforms or certain environments, it's quite widespread. That's one sad truth. But another one might be with men, because how men approach women might be slightly different how women approach men, in the sense of, with men, most men are allowed to roam around women at a higher capacity than vice versa. So it might be perceived as you hating on someone who's trying to be around women in some capacity, right? So certain guy codes will develop that you just don't criticize a man's choices, right? That's why I always go straight to the concept of marriage. You see, because what would happen?
That's so funny, isn't it? You saying that, because man code is universally understood, but black code is not, amongst the same lot who are of the same race. Having the same conversation, so they can acknowledge one code which they expect universally should be adhered to and understood, even though both of you the same race, they can't adhere and understand the black code.
I'm glad you said that.
Crazy.
Now, the reason why I said it is because what I try to do is I try to highlight the culture that the person subscribes to. So, for example, if you're talking to road guys or street guys, a lot of them, when it comes to, like, there's certain things where it's a definite. It's like, okay, if I commit a crime, I rob a bank, I'm not allowed to tell. If I get caught, I can't tell who I was with because that's against the code of the streets and the road and this kind of stuff, right? But then you say, okay, well, what's your code for black people's betterment then? Like you told me a code to break the law. Okay, now what about a code to maintain black betterment? And this, you're highlighting that you've gone through all these hoops and rings and stuff to maintain a criminal act, which that's your life, but you have nothing to how you're going to progress black people collectively. And that's the same with the guy code.
Bearing in mind that the guy code never works, like, really, like those people are not built like that before. No one's looking to like take a sentence for somebody just for being a code. Do you know what I mean? Like, those kinds of personalities are very rare. You know, that's from a different era. So to even, because they use the argument of, you know, what's it going to happen? What's the black code going to do for me? Is the black code working? Pan-Africanism is dead. But then what is the street code doing for us? Hello? Do you know what I mean? Is it working? People are still like snaking and snitching each other continuously, you know? So it's, I actually respect you for taking it there, bro, because it you know, there is something to that, because you're simultaneously having a conversation with another brother, and you should all, it's just this kind of acknowledgement that everyone should adhere to a certain code. But I've seen you two have conversation and people be acting like you're talking nonsense, like they've never known anything about it. Like, what black code? Like, you know, like, come on, even if you don't adhere to it, you know what we're talking about. Do you understand? And so, and when you said about, you know, that's a whole conversation on its own, that like that deep conversation needs to happen, you know, with like men, and that would be an interesting conversation. You know, I'll be there on mute. I might answer a bit of questions, but that would be a very good conversation to hear, especially going that level. But when you said, sorry, I'm not trying to take over, just one more question on there, because you said a lot there. When you said that it's about the brother not wanting to go against that code in regards to embarrassing him, that was powerful as well, right? Because that's what you were saying, right? So it's like at the same time, certain brothers won't want to highlight it because they've got a code of, you know, you don't want to highlight the unsynchrony of this brother, so you kind of let it slide. But in doing that, what are we saying about the code?
And
so
also as well,
there's a lot to unpack there, you know, bro.
It is, and before Brother Kel jumps in, this is what I always tend to use this as the building blocks of highlighting. And after all this is said, I go, and that is why we're collectively inadequate. You see, can you see? So I'm constantly using every single aspect of us not working for betterment as the iceberg identifier, that iceberg top, sorry, that we're inadequate. So for me, it's very important that I highlight. You do understand I've come on this panel for 1 hour, and my goal is to do constructive work with black people for black people's benefit, but yet people are fighting it. Can you and we're fighting because we're not including non-black people. Can you see? So and this is what we call inadequate, and that's why I say the European is superior at marking his own benefits and his own needs versus the black man. The black man is inferior at doing this, while the white man. I see when you use these kind of words, it triggers it. The brain computer starts to set him. You see, but because when you tend to use words like superior and inferior kind of stuff, people start thinking about biology and intelligence and stuff. And we're not saying we're saying no. When it comes to teamwork, for your own agenda to benefit your own people, you don't even get a bronze medal. There's no medal for you. The white man has the gold, the Chinese man has the silver, the Arab man has the bronze. There's no medal for you. Yeah. And we demonstrate that by the fact that you are fighting against economics and love. You're fighting against it. You see? So this is the strategy I use. I find it very successful, and I recommend but you have to be very careful how you say it. You can't just go shouting words. You have to understand that you're always trying to, when someone gets angry and upset, you must be very kind and caring. And you have to highlight to them, it's goodness you want, but can you see this behavior as part of the challenge? You see? And then you ask people like, okay, what can I say to make you happy? Because I've come here and I've promoted and you're not best pleased. Yeah? So can you give me the language you want me to say to make you happy?
Yeah, but you could get away with that as a man, bro. If I say that to a brother, I'll be all kind of condescending, this, that, and the other. You have a sort of flow the way you do it. That's why I like the way you do it. But
the thing is,
it's not the best kind. And anyways,
here's what it is.
You need to.
There are techniques. I hear this. There are techniques. But what I'm saying is this: as long as you're not engaging in an argument, you can say that, hey, I come here on this pillar. I want black people to collectively do better. I want us to work with our community and progress, right? And I want to work with the most constructive brothers and sisters to do that. Yeah, I don't want to offend you. Now, I believe, or I understand that black love is a primary. Now, if that concept offends you, can you tell me something that doesn't offend you? Like, what are the limits? Like, what can I say? What can't I say? Am I allowed to say the black woman is beautiful? Should I not say this? Am I not to say that a constructive black man, a constructive black woman is a constructive black family? Yeah. Like, ask the question, like, what do I need to say to make you feel good? Yeah. So we can then help black people. And whenever people get angry, okay, after you've done what you're saying and you've done what you've done, do black people benefit? How do black people benefit from what you're doing? If you go on a panel and they're constantly shouting at you, go, is black people benefiting from what we're doing here? Yeah, like I said, I'm happy to lose for black people to win. Are you happy to lose for black people to win? That's another one, right? You ask them, I'm more than happy to lose as an individual so black people can win collectively. Are you the same? Because if you are, then you might want to minimize the shouting and screaming, because we're not going to win from that, are we? You see? So the thing is, when it comes to debating, there are techniques, right? But the primary is love for your people. You see, and I know it's hard to be selfless, but you have to use, when people throw insults towards yourself, you have to split into like a percentage and spread it across every single black person in the world. You see, because they're not making fun of you; they're making fun of black people's betterment, because you come representing this idea. You're not here because you're trying to be a millionaire off what you're saying. You're here because you understand that we cannot move. I can't move forward if we don't move together, right? So you have to have black people. So every insult that I've ever been given when I've been practicing black betterment has black people has always been the best shield, because you're not making fun of me, you're making fun of black people. You see, and there's so many black people that it doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah,
you see.
Yeah, you gotta get I like what the sis said in the comments. I think she's agreeing with you there. I'm not sure if you saw the last comment.
It's it. Got to catch people right, and your show meant well, as most will already be offended. Yeah, of course. This is the thing. So, for example, before we end, I'll say this, right? If you observe movements like the what they call the manosphere people, the MGTOW, and then and the others, right? They come with narratives, yeah, and then what happens? The narratives become trendy, and then it becomes understood, and now people have to defend against the narratives. Well, you could do the same, yeah. So when I'm saying things like collectively inadequate and white men are superior at marketing at their own needs, these are things that we can like. They're strategic words that get us to a certain place. They control the narrative. Yeah, you should never be the most vulnerable person in the room when you have the most righteous mission. You see, if you step in a room and you go, I want the most mistreated people of all time to work together to fix what has happened to us, because the people that mistreat us, it's not in their best interest to help us. It's in their best interest to keep us in a subservient state because they benefit, right? So it's like,
that's a very good point. That's a very good thing to have at the back of your mind continuously. That is
exactly. Yeah. So these are the things. These are the protocols that should be running in your mind all the time, and you should always automatically know that if I'm going to go to in a room, unfortunately, many of our brothers and sisters are unsynchronized, and they have been programmed by a superior marketing machine, to be anti-black, to be anti-black Burman. They've been programmed, and before I go, this is another one, right? The term elite, very important. I use the term open door elite. The reason I use the term open door elite is because elitism has this negative connotation, meaning a rich person who's born into wealth, born into a monarchy or whatever it might be, right? Who look down on the poor person, and the poor person can never be amongst the rich person, and that means there's this class division, and it's good versus evil, right? The new branding is different. The open door elite, meaning any black person can be in the elite. Meaning the high echelon of black people working for black people's betterment, right? All you need to do is practice the two U's: utility and mine's gone blank now, and unity. Sorry, there you go, right? The two U's, But you find that that's even harder. That's a hard thing to do, to be consistent with those things. But if you practice that, then you can join the open door elite. And when you go in a room, you say, just so you know, brothers, I'm not here for every black person to do what I'm doing. I'm here to establish the new black elite, the open door new black elite. And I'm wondering, are there any brothers and sisters in this room who's willing to join me to be constructive to help our people progress? But if not, then we're not going to work with you. We're going to work on your behalf. You see,
exactly.
That's it. And then what you do is the reason why these strategies are important. I told you before in the past, if you go on an open day on the street and you go, everyone's welcome, it then undermines what you're doing. If you go only a certain few are welcome, then hold on, and I'm telling you, this is what you should do. I'm telling you, let us know, family out there, when you try to help black people, if you use some of these techniques, every week to week, we the brothers and sisters will give you advice of how we operate, and yeah. But we have come to the end of the show now. It's 30 minutes past. We do have a time limit. So,
Let me
brother
ask you
Carl,
one quick question, though.
of
It's a very
course,
quick one.
of course.
Just on the back of what you were saying to me before. So, are you saying that you encourage to, when you're saying that brothers should talk about it initially and lead on that conversation, are you saying, although that you understand that, you know, there is this kind of unspoken thing about not making a brother feel uncomfortable, or you feel that that should still be spoken, do you? Is that what you're
100%.
saying?
I'm saying there's a new narrative coming through, and that is because we are collectively inadequate. All other codes have to be broken. Yeah, meaning if the black, like, because for example, if you're not aware, this new narrative of the manosphere is going to get bigger and bigger, and you'll see many black people who are jumping in on this kind of like new wave, and that is like, you know, women can't be trusted, and you can't marry a woman, and all this kind of stuff. Right?
Women, like just women.
Yeah, women in general. Yeah, women in general, and marriages for suckers. And I understand that. But what I'm saying is this: all that has nothing to do with black people. We're too inadequate to be a part of that game. This is that kind of like, you know, I always say, whenever this mass movement comes with an idea, you have to break it down to black and white, because when you join forces with other people groups in these new, like, men, you know, helping men, and vegans helping vegans, and dogs help, whatever. But whenever you come together and you do that kind of stuff, find the black people at the bottom. So what you have to do is you go, okay, now, whatever you guys are going through with your women, I feel sorry for you, but we love black women here. Yeah,
exactly.
And we understand that a black man and a black woman makes a black family, and that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, so we're gonna make them constructive and have a constructive black family. So to answer your question, yes, it's something that black men
Happy
should
to
be.
hear you say that.
And I think I'm aware there's many black women who have been waiting to hear that, and maybe they haven't heard it. So maybe next week we need to. I think Brother Carl might agree with it. Have that kind of that topic about you know, black love, and is it the black man's responsibility to lead on making the black man synchronized as it pertains to black love.
And yeah, that would be good, especially for the brothers to lead on that. And perhaps maybe just, you know, do a brief little history of the inception of MGTOW, Manosphere, incels, you know, kind of demonstrate where it started from, how long ago it started, because black people have always had their struggles and strife, but it's only now that they decided that they're incels. This incels mentality has been going on for a lot longer, and it's never been able to attach itself to our black community. So I think it's important for people to see how detached these kind of thoughts are, and how innate and common it is from the originating man who does it, who originated it. Because a lot of the conversation of, you know, man versus woman is definitely a Western concept. We know that, you know, and this concept of not trusting them, and them being a liability, and all focus on material stuff. Well, that's opposite of what we were, because, you know, it was all about unity and strength and family. So I think it'd be really important, because some people are really like, have just gone, like they've drunk the Kool-Aid, like they think it's a black thing, like they don't. It's like, it's crazy. So I think it's really important to like show that, like, how this thing is literally is a new thing. This is not the way we deal with things. And you know, it'll be, and of course, especially about what would be a nice conversation as well to him, or what the brothers talk about, is just how simultaneously some brothers can do two codes at one time, where we can respect each other as men, but we can also be on a code where, how the difference is, some man can't do that. You know, it's important, because those are real conversations about real issues that women are noticing. But women have no place to say. You know, there's no way to say that without offending a man's ego.
And men should be, that's why it should be led by, because women shouldn't be taken, like, it's almost embarrassing as a people, where
exactly
you have your woman almost pleading to black men to understand the importance of it's very odd. And that's why we have to start in stage, and that's why we say the optic concept is important. Like, regardless of what you are or not doing, optically, what are you promoting? You know, so and that's why we had that for. I'll quickly show it. It's usually somewhere in this document.
And you're right on that aspect. I agree with you on certain points. I think certain things have to be authentic when it comes to black love, but other things, all the other stuff, I 100% agree with you. Look at religion. Do you know what I mean? There's people out there who say they're a certain religion who drink, but they understand that there's no way that they should be promoting that. They understand that that is something that they keep to themselves and it should not be promoted, right? So what you're saying again is not a far concept, a foreign concept.
So if those who can't see the screen, this is something we read a couple months back, and it's a thought process. Remember, your thought process could be compromised and conditioned by the anti-black racist marketing scheme, right? And that is, my preference is light-skinned women. But what you actually say is, I would like to marry a black woman. You see, you don't need to shout that out. You can say, I would like to marry a black woman. See, that's a better thing to say. My preference is a dark-skinned woman. Yeah, I noticed for a long time, beautiful dark-skinned women have been overlooked. That is very fortunate for me. I would like a dark-skinned wife. All right. What else is it? I will be with anyone I connect with. All right, well, that's what a man thinks, but what he should say is, I don't know who I might marry, but I understand a black woman will be better as a wife for black betterment purposes. So what I'm saying is, there's a person in their mind, they might think, because you see a lot of the universal black unsynchronized black men, right? And they're like, whoever, it's fun. This is a random story, but I remember I came across some brother's page, and he was talking about the Haitian history and all this black, and he was really getting passionate. And I was like, this man's got a very good way of narrating, like, black history and black people struggling, and it's wrong to be racist. And then I remember I followed him. I said, and he must have millions of followers, right? And this was what they call like the contra. It wasn't the contra community, but the spiritually contra. I can't remember what they call themselves. This kind of community. But I remember one day there was a picture of a blonde woman, and it said on his page, goes, "This is the best woman I've ever met in my life. I'm so glad for a woman." I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is shocking." I was like, "Okay," and I thought, do I unfollow? I don't know what I do now. I'm carrying on. I go, you know what? This is what's going on. But I'm thinking, because all I'm seeing is the Haitian Revolution and black people liberating, and then I see this, and then a couple of weeks later, some incident happened where he seemed to be sulking or something, and he was like, "I can't believe it, man. So many black people are being racist in maybe some. It was either a North African incident or maybe Black Lives Matter, something where black people were being mistreated, and all the people in my conscious community, all the non-black ones are speaking out against it. I can't believe it," and it was heartbroken. It seemed, right. I was like, "Oh, there you go." But it's that it's just understand optically what benefits black people, and that's why we have this chart here, isn't it? Once again, look, you have the universal unsynchronized black man says love has no color, but what might be better says, I don't know who I might marry, but I understand black women will be better as a wife for black betterment purposes. You see? So rather than a person says love has no color, saying, look, I don't know who I might marry, but I understand that black women will be better as a wife for black betterment purposes. So really, you're training the mind of the people listening that black women will be better for black people for you to marry. Yeah?
And also, Brother Raven, that we have to have the mindset that we are salesmen selling the product to black. So we have to understand that we have to shut down unsynchronized salesmen who have the dopamine's capacity to shut you down. When I was watching the channel with beloved sister Kushti, there was an unsynchronized African descendant on there. And what we've got to realize is that because of our dopamines, sister Kushti, is that the dopamines needs to validate to destroy a synchronized black woman, to destroy a synchronized black man. Remember, you see, like with us, and hopefully we keep it this way, our dopamines validates everything must be African first, but they don't think that way. So when you're engaging with them, you have to have the mindset of a salesman and a saleswoman. I'm going to sell the product, but I have to make sure my customers, my sincere, lovely customers, that I want to make sure in the long run that they have the product until they die, is not reacting to certain negativity. You understand what I'm saying? And that we're selling products.
No, I hear you, bro, but I do also, and I 100% agree. But I do also think that there's many ways to skin a cat as well, and it depends on the unsynchronized person that you're dealing with. So I think in majority of the cases, you're absolutely right. You got to be able to sell it to them and stuff like that. But I do think that it does change for the sexes as well. So there's certain things, brother, that you could say that would get a different response than if I would say it to the same brother. I'd get a lot of comeback to it with.
Yeah, I
And
hear
so
that.
yeah, and so I think as a woman now, as a black woman who is synchronized and who does love my community, and looking at it through those lens, you know, I just don't think, and we talking about optics, that's more for the brothers to have to do that, because the way I think that sisters have to, bearing in mind what sisters are getting continuously as well, is again, I think, you know, understandably sisters are tired of that. And if you're unsynchronized and you're coming on to talk to black women about your unsynchronized like your relationship, like that's all types of gaslighting and things like that. So I think that, you know, coming back, I feel that for me, I just, my reaction now is just, boy, it is no loss, to be honest with you. I think that the sisters has missed the bullet with those kind of brothers, and I'm not going to be publicly begging an unsynchronized man to come back to the black woman. And I think that a lot of and I think that that is the attitude that I give to those unsynchronized brothers, not to my brothers, right? And I think that that's what that's what they should expect from me accordingly. As a black woman who is, you know, for the cause and for her people, I don't have no time wasting to give anything. I shouldn't have to expect to give up any energy towards those people there, to be honest with you. And if that is your mentality, I see, and I can see that that's the mentality, or that's how you feel about black women. Who am I as a black woman who love black women and love black men, think that, okay, I want to give, what family member would I give up to that brother that you're mentioning? None. I'm being absolutely honest with you. I'm not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that's his mentality, then not everybody's supposed to come, you know, and many of our leaders have said that. I've come on here and I've said I don't believe that we're going to save everyone. I do think it's a small few, and I reserve my energy and my love and my passion and patience and everything it takes, because we're not perfect. It's not just because we think like this, we're all of a sudden perfect.
Yeah.
So I reserve that energy for them. And I
Yeah.
think black women should be that. I think black women are too accessible, because that's the one thing that black men was saying. Remember when we was doing this earlier on Black Betterment, Brother Raven, and it was about black women raise their standards. They got to choose better. Black women finally doing it. You know, now only a hit dog will holler. So the only people who's gonna be hurting on that are the people that are just not getting it, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't get the love. They shouldn't get the attention. They shouldn't get the begging. They shouldn't get that when they're getting nothing but a barrage of abuse.
Yeah.
So I do think that it's just different between women and men, you know, and I just. And, you know, you got to remember there's a lot of pressure with black women who are for the cause as well. You know, they get called mammies and everything else because of this kind of illusion now, which is bad, that if you're for the cause, you're for every single foolishness that happens to black women. You know, you love unsynchronization, you love everything. There's a lot of misinformation in that.
Well,
So
and that's why I use the term open door elitist, sister, you see, where it's like there's a standard, a benchmark, and not everyone can join, but the door's never closed. You know, you're never closing the door, but it's like, here's how we want our community to be. Here's the values that we push forward. And you can join whenever you like, but you've got to have it. And this is the open door elite. And I hear you. And that's why I'm saying men have to lead. And there's certain vocal strategies that I recommend as men we do. So, for example, when we look at the screen, before we look at the screen at the moment, there's this is the dating patterns in the United States, but it's very similar in Canada and England. And that is and once again, when I say this is not a reflection of the beauty or importance of black women. This is the failure, and I'm using this as a branding term of black men not being able to market collectively the beauty standards and the awareness on in our community, right? So when we look, I think this is 2013, it says that women responding to men. So when women respond to men, the Asian woman, the Latino woman, and the white woman at the highest degree are looking at the white man, while the black woman in isolation is looking at the black man. Yeah. Now, when we look at the men response, right? When we look at men responding to women, right? We have the black man, the Latino man, and the white man looking at the Asian woman, yeah, and then the Asian man looking at the Latino woman, right? But now, when we look at the lowest responses, yeah, the lowest responses, the white man, and the Asian woman, and the Latino woman and the white woman are lowest looking at the black men, yeah, as in that's what they're not looking at them, yeah. Oh, sorry, am I right? The lowest response, yeah. While the lowest one from the black woman is she's least looking at the white man, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, can you see that? Yeah. Now, but when you look at the Asian man, the black man, the Latino man, and the white man at the lowest response, yeah, they're all lowest looking at the black woman. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this data and this feeling
So they're
that I'm
saying
aware
that
of,
it's the same.
say again.
So they're
Try
saying
again.
so they're saying that both of them have black men and black women have the lowest response.
Well, but they have those,
They're
but
both.
but more importantly, the black woman is consistently looking at the black man all the time, while the black man is not looking at the woman, black woman at the time when it comes to this kind of data, right? Now, don't get me wrong. There's many constructive black men, and we know them, right? And there's a ratio of black men marrying black women. However, we have to go to which people group is most likely not to, and we know black men. That's where it's at, right? The unsynchronized black men. So we use this as a metric to, and I say we use this kind of data as a metric to one, show how white men are superior at marking their own beauty standards, but two, show how we're inadequate at marking our own beauty standards. And what will happen is they will say this is a black woman's issue if she doesn't do this, doesn't do that. How you have to refute that is by saying, here's how it works, right? The black woman is the physical reality of a black man, right? So if the black woman is seen as unappealing and ugly, so is the black man. You see? Yeah. So you are destroying yourself by not maintaining, marketing and branding the beauty of the black woman to the black man. You see? There is no escape, right? And this is contributing to these many new movements of black women going their own way and feeling, marginalized and this kind of stuff. Because ultimately, the truth is, and I mean this in the most correct way. When I say this, the most from the races, the most unappealing woman is the black woman. But that isn't down to her beauty or her mindset. It's down to the marketing, of the black community, of the black men. You see, it's the marketing, and also, unfortunately, here's the truth, right? Non-black people find the black aesthetic repugnant. You see, we witnessed this today with some of the things we were showing. Now, what that means is when women date men, your physical shape, your face, and this kind of stuff, right, is usually the least important. It's important to an extent, but usually providing and protecting is of a higher need. Yeah. However, when men are looking for women, they put that as a first stage primary, as in how they physically look, right? So that means black women and black men have a different disadvantage by the same metric, you see, because it doesn't mean that because non-black people go for black men that they find black men attractive. It's just that isn't a metric that matters when women go towards men. Yeah. So either way, this data shows the failure of the black man marketing the black abuse stand. That's what it shows. Regardless of how many non-black people might want to be with a black man, it shows that none do anyway, right? But
Yeah,
even
although in a manosphere they claim that they're the highest wanted.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me, the one that's most stands out is the top left-hand one, because that black to black line, when all the other women are not even loyal to their own,
yes,
says a lot. It's not even that they're the Asian to Asian. It's all of them are going to white, but somehow the black woman has gone to her own. So yeah, that's very interesting.
And the strategy I would say is men thrive on competition unless they're defeated, right? So you never want to make it about a black man and a black woman. You'll lose that argument. Yeah, you want to make it about a black man and a non-black man. Yeah, and go, I understand why you like the white woman, because the white man is superior to the black man at marketing the beauty standards of his own women, and you fall for the marketing. Now your job is to compete with him and market the true beauty of black women, so black women can once again be the beauty of the world. However, when you do this, the code is clear. You're marketing her beauty for the black man standard, meaning I'm going to make the black woman the most beautiful black woman in the world because that's where she belongs. However, it's for her to be constructive and be with the black man, and vice versa. It isn't for her to be on the number one thing, for her to be with every other man. Like we have obviously failed at that kind of behavior, right? So this is the strategy I'm saying. So sometimes when I say things, they come across as shocking, right? But you can't play Connect 4 anymore. You have to play chess. You see, you have to play chess, and sometimes in chess you have to go sideways and backwards to actually capture the king and the queen.
But I mean, no, yeah, you're absolutely. I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. I think.
I tell you what, we'll cover it because we'll cover this next week, because obviously this is a very deep issue, and Empress Kushi is deep in it. She knows, and she's definitely the voice we want to be hearing. So if there's any black women out there, hopefully next week we'll try to promote it, but we're going to try to have a black love or black man responsibility or the white market, however we're going to word it, and yeah, hopefully I haven't been on Clubhouse, but I want to start this conversation on Clubhouse because I think that's like a big narrative on Clubhouse, like the black woman's kind of stuff, right? And I haven't been on it for months, so we'll get right. But I'm looking for us to come as a force. And the force we're pushing is constructive black love, and that's constructive black man and constructive black woman. And also the black man holding his hands up. I'm going, okay, we've fallen short in this optic here. The optics of black men loving black women. We know we love black women, but we've fallen short in actually promoting that as a reality that people can actually digest and accept. Yeah,
you're right. Because look at those channels that you showed us before, those Instagram channels that are just based on interracial relationships. They know what they do with the optics.
They know they do.
Yeah, so you're right.
All right, family, we're gonna go there. We're good show, almost 3 hours. Until then, Black Betterment. And any last words you'd like to say, family, before you go?
No, it's another great show.
Just Black Betterment.
Black Betterment. Thank you very much, guys. Until next week, Black Betterment. It's not working now. Where's the button? Hold on, guys. I'm trying to press the end button, and the machine's now clogging down. Great. There you go.